What's up guys, this is your favorite fanfic YouTuber, the Fanfic Majesty, and welcome to another amazing video. You can follow me on Patreon for exclusive stories.
11 SG. Chapter 151. Heterogeneous Rinne Tensai Technique. With Black Zetsu's soft drink, a ray of light bloomed from Uchiha Fugaku's body, and finally fell on Uchiha Madara's body. Uchiha Madara is instantly enveloped in rich light. The unique characteristic cracks in the impure world reincarnation body gradually disappeared, and a powerful sound of dong 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 came from the body. That's the heart beating. Uchiha Madara shook hands, and after feeling the physical presence and temperature, she laughed loudly and said, "Ha ha ha, I finally waited for this moment." In the distance, Orochimaru licked his tongue when he saw this scene. This ability to resurrect people is indeed eye-catching. However, the price is indeed one life for another. Orochimaru sets his sights on Uchiha Fugaku. Although he is not very old, his face is full of wrinkles and his hair is full of white hair. It seems as if life has come to an end. But what Orochimaru cares about more is the Black Zetsu that is indeed possessed by him. This guy really has bad intentions. From the first moment Black Zetsu appeared, Orochimaru didn't fully trust him. What's more, Uchiha Madara has disappeared from the ninja world for so long, and the sudden appearance of a person possessing Uchiha Madara's body tissue is very suspicious no matter how you think about it. But in the end, with no other choice, he used reanimation jutsu summoning Uchiha Madara. And now, he also knows the connection between Black Zetsu and Uchiha Madara, as well as his purpose. That is the true resurrection of Uchiha Madara. On the other side, Senju Hashirama stared blankly at Uchiha Madara who was laughing wildly. Madara, resurrected, Senju Tobarama said solemnly. Rinnegan's ability can actually resurrect the dead. And it seems that Uchiha Madara's 553 plan has been resurrected for a long time. But, even if the current Uchiha Madara is resurrected, what will be changed? Aizen Sosuke, there is still no way to solve it. Gr. Senju Tobarama laid his eyes on Uchiha Madara's eyes. The eyes that were blind due to the use of the forbidden technique of the Uchiha clan and the Izana branch used to rewrite reality have regained their light due to resurrection. But his eyes seem to have deteriorated. Rinnegan has degenerated into Mangekyo Sharingan. Senju Tobarama narrowed his eyes and murmured softly. Let's not talk about why. Without Rinnegan, Uchiha Madara's strength is destined to decline, and it is impossible to reverse the situation. But, even if Uchiha Madara retains Rinnegan, it will be useless against Aizen Sosuke. Uchiha Madara also knows that the Rinnegan in his impure world reincarnation state has degenerated to the level of Mangekyo Sharingan. But this is inevitable after his resurrection. Because before he was alive, he had installed Rinnegan in Uzumaki Nagado's eye socket. In the impure world reincarnation state, you can also use the Rinnegan's abilities with the power of your soul. But after regaining his body, he also needs to regain the Rinnegan so that Tuan can continue to use the Rinnegan's abilities. This is why he went to the country of Whirlpool before to find Uzumaki Nagado's purpose of getting back the Rinnegan. This is one of the reasons besides wanting Uchiha Fugaku to use his Rinnegan to resurrect him. Unfortunately, the Whirlpool Kingdom was more difficult than he expected. He didn't even find any trace of Uzumaki Nagato, and he was beaten by the captain of the country of Whirlpool and fled back in embarrassment. We can only do the next best thing, help Uchiha Fugaku awaken Rinnegan and help him resurrect. But, it doesn't matter anymore. Since you can't get your Rinnegan back, there shouldn't be much difference if you use someone else's. Thinking of this, the pattern of Uchiha Madara Mangekyo Sharingan turned slightly. His eyes were directly locked on Uchiha Fugaku, whose life force was about to be exhausted. Then with a swish sound, he disappeared directly from the spot. When he reappeared, he was already at Uchiha Fugaku's side. Uchiha Madara looked down at Uchiha Fugaku expressionlessly, without any fluctuation in her eyes. Uchiha Fugaku was lying on the uneven ground, the blood on his chest no longer flowing. Because of the consumption of life force, everything in his body has dried up. He just opened Rinnegan slightly and looked at Uchiha Madara quietly. When he noticed that Uchiha Madara's eyes were always on his Rinnegan, he twitched the corner of his mouth slightly, forced out a smile, and said in an old and hoarse voice, "You, really, are all my worth." Ah. Uchiha Madara crossed his arms and said proudly, "It is your honor, Uchiha Fugaku, to put your eyes in my eyes." Hee. Uchiha Fugaku's voice revealed a hint of ridicule, but he had no power to stop Uchiha Madara. Uchiha Madara didn't mean to continue talking nonsense with him. She leaned down and reached straight into Uchiha Fugaku's eyes. Guji. Rinnegan was dug out of the eye socket by Uchiha Madara's cold hands, with warm and thick blood. But Uchiha Fugaku remained expressionless, as if he couldn't feel the pain. Uchiha Madara didn't pay attention to Uchiha Fugaku. He lifted Rinnegan and looked at it quietly for a while. He said calmly, "Although it is not my Rinnegan, I am still a little uncomfortable with it, but I can only make do with it." As soon as he finished speaking, Uchiha Madara did not hesitate at all. He took off one of his Mangekyo Sharingan and replaced it with this Rinnegan. In an instant, that familiar power returned to his body again. But, not enough. Laugh. Uchiha Madara put a hand on Uchiha Fugaku's belly, and ripples suddenly appeared. He put his hand in without hesitation. Something like a tree trunk was slowly pulled out of Uchiha Fugaku's body. That is, seeing something familiar, Senju Tobarama exclaimed, 10 tails. Does Uchiha Madara want it too? Almost at the same time, They all guessed what Uchiha Madara was thinking. Under their watch, the 10 tails in Uchiha Fugaku's body was pulled out. Roar. A thundering roar rang out from 10 tails' mouth. With just one roar, an endless gust of wind was set off. But before it could continue to show its power, Uchiha Madara made the same seal as Uchiha Fugaku before. 10 tails was like being put into a washing machine again, spinning crazily, and its body became smaller and smaller, was ruthlessly sealed into his body by Uchiha Madara. The moment 10 tails was completely absorbed by Uchiha Madara, his body suddenly changed. A majestic momentum soared into the sky. Uchiha Madara's hedgehog-like long hair swayed crazily under this momentum, and gradually became white from the roots. In just a few seconds, the long and bright black hair was covered with white. The red armor on his body disappeared, replaced by the white trench coat that Sage of Six Paths once wore. 9 truth-seeking balls flowed in a circle behind Madara. Compared to Uchiha Fugaku at that time, there were 3 more truth-seeking balls. The arms and legs also turned black, and the skin overall turned cyan. The left hand holds the Six Paths Zen staff. The forehead is covered with a thick layer of horn, with 2 sharp horns extending from it. The eyes are an eternal Mangekyo Sharingan and a Rinnegan. A deep sense of oppression swept across the entire battlefield instantly. Uchiha Madara's changes caught everyone's attention. But because I had an experience with Uchiha Fugaku, although I was surprised by the changes in Uchiha Madara, I was not too shocked. But it is also obvious that after Uchiha Madara absorbs 10 tails, she looks much stronger than Uchiha Fugaku. Just the 9 floating truth-seeking balls behind it can prove it. After all, Uchiha Fugaku, who gained the power of 6 paths, only had 6 truth-seeking balls. But Uchiha Madara has 9 in total. Why is there such an obvious difference between the two? Obviously the reason why he gained the power of 6 paths was because he became 10 tails Jinchuriki. But the power gained is either strong or weak. 9 tails said solemnly. That guy Uchiha Madara actually gained the complete power of 6 paths directly after becoming 10 tails Jinchuriki. The full power of 6 paths. Hearing 9 tails' words, Uzumaki Mito exclaimed. She still remembered what 9 tails said before, that Uchiha Fugaku did not obtain the full power of 6 paths. But even so, Uchiha Fugaku's power is visible to the naked eye, without the appearance of Aizen Sosuke. There is no way in the entire ninja world that there is anyone who can defeat Uchiha Fugaku. Even if Hashirama and Uchiha Madara join forces, it won't be possible. But 9 tails said that Uchiha Fugaku did not gain the full power of 6 paths. And now, this power is actually controlled by Uchiha Madara. Is it because Uchiha Madara was stronger than Uchiha Fugaku during his lifetime, so after becoming 10 tails Jinchuriki, his power is deeper than that of Uchiha Fugaku? Uzumaki Mito felt doubts in his heart. Senju Tobirama, on the other hand, was lost in thought. Uchiha Fugaku's half-assed 6 paths power is already so powerful. So how powerful should Uchiha Madara be after mastering the complete power of 6 paths? But, although the 2 guys who gained power are both evil Uchiha that he hates, at least their existence can still contain Aizen Sosuke. It can be considered a blessing in misfortune. Madara, so awesome. Senju Hashirama's eyes were shining and he stared at Uchiha Madara all the time. Senju Tobirama, brother, I really don't worry about what Uchiha Madara will do after getting this power. Uchiha Madara and Aizen Sosuke. Senju Tobirama narrowed his eyes slightly. If either of these 2 guys wins, it will not be a big deal for the ninja world. The best result is that both people lose. Then they take action and kill Uchiha Madara and Aizen Sosuke together. I just don't know if Uchiha Madara, who has controlled the complete power of 6 paths, can compete with Aizen Sosuke. Ha 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 ha. Suddenly, Uchiha Madara's wild laughter attracted everyone's attention. Uchiha Madara felt the power coming from her and couldn't help laughing. He has been waiting for this moment for too long. Create a beautiful world without war, today. Hashirama, I will prove how naive your decision is. He is the right one. But, until then, he has a better idea. Uchiha Madara sets her sights on Aizen Sosuke. To be precise, it should be the Hogyoku that shines like a star on Aizen Sosuke's chest. This kind of power, once combined with his current power of 6 paths, might really be able to create a real world that is at his mercy. Exclamation mark. Thinking of this, Uchiha Madara's eyes became hot, and her heart beat faster due to excitement. The more he thought of that scene, the more excited Uchiha Madara became. Feeling Uchiha Madara's gaze, Aizen Sosuke lowered his head and looked at Hogyoku on his chest. His eyes were flat and he said calmly, so, you are actually targeting Hogyoku. Good courage. Ha, Aizen Sosuke, you are really arrogant. Uchiha Madara crossed her arms and looked up at Aizen Sosuke in the air. Then the white windbreaker suddenly whirred, and a stream of air suddenly rose from Uchiha Madara's feet, sending him into the midair at the same level as Aizen Sosuke. He doesn't like to look up at people. Arrogant. Senju Tobirama heard the conversation between Aizen Sosuke and Uchiha Madara and looked strange. Uchiha Madara, what qualifications do you have to call others arrogant? Among these people, you are probably the most arrogant one. On the other side, after breaking away from Uchiha Fugaku's body whose vitality is gradually extinct. Black Zetsu watched Uchiha Madara and Aizen Sosuke confront each other, feeling anxious. This Uchiha Madara is 0.0. Isn't it a bad idea? Why did you go to find that murderer? Didn't you agree to launch the infinite Tsukuyomi plan? Use infinite Tsukuyomi quickly. As long as he uses infinite Tsukuyomi, he can break his mother's seal. Unfortunately, Uchiha Madara didn't get what he wanted the first time. Black Zetsu didn't know that Hogyoku's appearance also gave Uchiha Madara a better idea. He wants to use the power of 6 paths and Hogyoku to create a truly peaceful world. Uchiha Madara's eyes flashed, and he stretched out his hand to Aizen Sosuke's chest and said, "Give that to me." Aizen Sosuke's eyes were flat and he said calmly, "If you want it, come and get it yourself." Uchiha Madara's eyes narrowed and he disappeared instantly. When he reappeared, he was already in front of Aizen Sosuke. The 6 paths Zen staff in his hand was thrown hard towards Aizen Sosuke. Aizen Sosuke raised his hand slowly. Boom! A violent dull sound sounded from the air. The 6 paths Zen staff is held tightly in Aizen Sosuke's hand. Uchiha Madara's eyes narrowed, and he twitched the 6 paths Zen staff, only to find that the 6 paths Zen staff did not move at all in Aizen Sosuke's hand. What terrifying strength! It was the first time he fought Aizen Sosuke in this state, and Uchiha Madara truly realized how powerful Aizen Sosuke was. But, he is definitely not weak now. Suddenly, a terrifying power came from the 6 paths Zen staff. Uchiha Madara's expression changed. Just hear a bang. The front part of the 6 paths Zen staff was directly pinched off by Aizen Sosuke. Chapter 152. Interesting for you. The 7 most famous plus-size models in the world. More. 317. 79. 106. Uchiha Madara looked at the 6 paths Zen staff with only half of it left, with a silent expression. Before, I only watched the battle between Aizen Sosuke and Uchiha Fugaku, and I could see how powerful Aizen Sosuke was, but I didn't feel it too clearly. Only now, when I face Aizen Sosuke in person, can I deeply understand the terrifying oppression of Aizen Sosuke. But even so, he was bound to win the day before yesterday. This is the first time that he is so close to his dream, so how could he give up so easily? The solemn look in Uchiha Madara's eyes gradually disappeared, replaced by calmness. He gently swung the half-length 6 paths Zen staff. In an instant, black particles suddenly filled the air. Under the pull of the 6 paths Zen staff, they condensed at the front end and repaired the incomplete 6 paths Zen staff. Although the 6 paths Zen staff is known as the artifact of the Sage of 6 Paths, it is fundamentally a creation of Yin-Yang done. Even if it was destroyed by Aizen Sosuke, Uchiha Madara was able to use Yin-Yang escape to create an identical 6 paths Zen staff again. But Aizen Sosuke's ability to crush Yin-Yang escape easily and freely still filled Uchiha Madara's heart with fear. But, through the fight just now, Uchiha Madara also experienced the pleasure of having a physical body. Uchiha Madara raised the corners of her mouth. This body is so cool. Feeling the beating heart and the blood flowing inside her body, Uchiha Madara opened her eyes wide and laughed. It feels like the blood is boiling. He focused on Aizen Sosuke, the smile on his face not diminishing. Finally, I can fight well. The moment he finished speaking, Uchiha Madara swept Aizen Sosuke with a whip kick. Aizen Sosuke looked expressionless and raised his arms. Bang! The sound of flesh colliding resounded throughout the battlefield. One blow was blocked by Aizen Sosuke. Uchiha Madara was not surprised or hesitant. Using Aizen Sosuke's arm as a base point, his whole body rotated 10 times and his legs were bent. Boom! Aizen Sosuke reacted quickly and intercepted Uchiha Madara's attack again. But Uchiha Madara suddenly smiled. Sage Art Lan Dungwangya. Uchiha Madara's mouth bulged, and a laser was spit out by him, shooting at Aizen Sosuke. Buzz! The moment Aizen Sosuke was hit again, his entire body turned into light particles again. The laser penetrates Aizen Sosuke and shoots straight to the earth. Boom! A deep hole was formed instantly. Uchiha Madara opened her eyes slightly, and then quickly distanced herself from Aizen Sosuke. Uchiha Madara observed Aizen Sosuke's current state, frowning. This guy is actually able to avoid attacks by changing into the form of light. As a result, some methods may not be effective against Aizen Sosuke. Tisk. The excitement of being reborn was turned cold by Aizen Sosuke's weird ability, and his whole body gradually cooled down. Consider countermeasures against Aizen Sosuke. But apparently, Aizen Sosuke didn't give him this chance. Aizen Sosuke said calmly from the state of light particles, "Next, it's my turn to attack." As soon as he finished speaking, Aizen Sosuke appeared in front of Uchiha Madara at the speed of light, and the Sunstrike light blade fell straight down. Uchiha Madara's pupils shrank suddenly. With strong reflex nerves, he moved slightly to the right. Laugh. Uchiha Madara's left arm hurt, and then fell to the ground with a thud. His eyes moved slightly, and he could clearly see from the corner of his eye that his left arm had disappeared. A smooth cut came into view. The strange thing is that there is no blood gushing out from the wound. He placed his gaze on Aizen Sosuke's light blade and narrowed his eyes slightly. Did you seal the wound because of the light burn? Although he lost his left arm, Uchiha Madara's eyes did not waver at all. A good attack, but it's still far from ending the battle. Following Uchiha Madara's words, a brand new arm grew rapidly from the broken arm. The whole process doesn't even take a second. Senju Tobarama saw this scene and said solemnly, "The power of Tao actually made Uchiha Madara's recovery power reach such a terrifying level. But at this level, we can't defeat Aizen Sosuke." Senju Hashirama answered, "Madara's healing speed has reached an astonishing level, but as long as there is no check on Aizen Sosuke's ability, and as long as Aizen Sosuke spends more time, there will always be a time when Madara will be killed." Uchiha Madara obviously understands this truth. But the current form doesn't give him time to think of ways to defeat Aizen Sosuke. Because Aizen Sosuke's next attack has already arrived. But this time Uchiha Madara was able to see Aizen Sosuke's attack clearly. Buzz. The light blade slashed hard at Uchiha Madara as if cutting through space. Uchiha Madara thought, and the 9 truth-seeking balls floating behind her twisted for a while, and finally turned into round shields, blocking Uchiha Madara's body. Boom. The sound of heavy blows resounded through the space. The black buckler buzzed and vibrated, but in the end it blocked Aizen Sosuke's light blade slash. Aizen Sosuke's eyes flashed slightly. These balls are much stronger than the previous one. Uchiha Madara sneered, comparing me to that brat Uchiha Fugaku, I'm really being underestimated. The moment the voice fell, a gap suddenly opened in the middle of the black buckler. Sage Art Yin escaped Thunder School. Zilla. A branch-like purple thunderbolt crawled out from the gap in the black buckler and struck Aizen instantly. Aizen Sosuke's expression did not change and he said calmly, isn't it clear? This kind of attack has no effect on me now. After finishing his words, Aizen Sosuke raised his other hand and aimed his palm at the gap opened by the black buckler. Hado number 63 Fiery Lightning Howl. Buzz. The golden lightning beam instantly poured into the gap in the black buckler and shot towards Uchiha Madara. Uchiha Madara looked calm, lifted up the 6 Paths Zen staff and gently tapped the fiery lightning howl. Kaka. There were tiny cracking sounds. Finally bang. Fiery lightning howls light beam as like glass and explodes instantly. Turned into little golden Madara dots and dissipated in the air. Uchiha Madara spoke in the same tone as Aizen Sosuke. What a coincidence, this technique is also useless to me now. Aizen Sosuke and Uchiha Madara looked at each other indifferently. The next second the two people disappeared almost at the same time. Bang, bang. There was a sudden violent roar in the air, and the whole space seemed to be shaking. Senju Tobirama glanced back and forth on the battlefield, gritted his teeth and said, where? He clearly knew that Aizen Sosuke and Uchiha Madara were fighting, but with his strength, he couldn't even see them. It's so fast. It's so fast that the naked eye can't even detect the movements between them. Senju Hashirama clapped his hands and said, Sage mode. The red curse mark appeared again. In Sage mode, Senju Hashirama was finally able to barely keep up with Aizen Sosuke and Uchiha Madara. Uzumaki Mito also turns on Nine Tails Chakra mode to watch the battle between Aizen Sosuke and Uchiha Madara. Senju Tobirama. Is he an outsider? Fortunately, this situation did not last long. After another collision, Uchiha Madara flew backwards. Tisk. Uchiha Madara wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth. In terms of physical skills, he doesn't even have the upper hand. If this continues, sooner or later, you will be defeated by Aizen Sosuke. Buzz. Aizen Sosuke's figure turned to light speed again and appeared behind Uchiha Madara in an instant. Feeling the fluctuation behind him, Uchiha Madara's pupils shrank suddenly. Boom. Aizen Sosuke's sword struck the air in front of Uchiha Madara's neck, and he could no longer move forward. This strange scene finally made Aizen Sosuke's eyes flicker. Aizen Sosuke said calmly, is there something blocking the middle? The words just fell. Aizen Sosuke suddenly pulled back. Boom. The place before was suddenly shattered. But there was no figure who launched the attack. This scene made Senju Hashirama and Senju Tobirama look at each other. It's a technique that was used in the Kingdom of Whirlpool before. Senju Tobirama's eyes flashed slightly. Aizen Sosuke, can't you see it too? Senju Hashirama said. Although you can't see it, like Zaraki Kenpachi, you can feel its existence. However, now that Madara has transformed into 6 Paths mode, this technique should have become a lot stronger, right? Maybe. Senju Hashirama's eyes were full of anticipation for Uchiha Madara. Uchiha Madara turned around, looked at Aizen Sosuke, and said solemnly, 1 or 2, they are really keen. No one without Rinnegan would be able to see his tomb. B. Whether it's the Zaraki Kenpachi from before or the Aizen Sosuke in front of me, it seems like they can all see his inner prison. What do these guys think of his Rinnegan? Let me see, can't you take this blow? Uchiha Madara's face was ferocious, and the 9 truth-seeking balls floating behind him instantly condensed into a black spear. Under the control of Uchiha Madara, the black spear seemed to penetrate the space and shot straight towards Aizen Sosuke. Snapped. The black spear was held effortlessly by Aizen Sosuke. He gave it a firm squeeze. Bang. The black spear transformed into the truth-seeking ball collapsed instantly. Uchiha Madara's eyes widened and she froze on the spot. The truth-seeking ball was crushed into pieces. How is that possible? Aizen Sosuke said calmly. With your narrow vision, you will naturally not understand the power beyond your own. With this condescending expression, what do you think I, Uchiha Madara, am? Uchiha Madara's eyes widened. 4 invisible shadows attack Aizen Sosuke simultaneously. Aizen Sosuke said expressionlessly. There are too many ants, which is also a troublesome thing. The moment he finished speaking, the Reiatsu in his body exploded. The shadows of the 4-wheel tombs didn't even have the ability to resist, so they flew out. Although he couldn't see it, it was enough to knock everything around him away. Tread. Aizen Sosuke walked slowly towards Uchiha Madara. It's time to finish. However, your appearance as a candle in the wind does bring me a lot of pleasure. Let the next blow be my gift to you. Aizen Sosuke's eyes were indifferent and he said flatly, there is a feint. The muddy coat of arms, the unruly and arrogant talent. Surge, negation, paralysis, moment, hindering eternal sleep. The crawling steel princess, the clay doll that keeps mutilating itself, combine, rebound, and extend to the ground, know your own powerlessness. Aizen Sosuke's voice was choppy, and with each sentence, a black wall-like rectangular substance appeared near Uchiha Madara. Senju Tobirama saw this familiar scene and instantly thought of a 780 technique that Aizen Sosuke had used before. Uchiha Madara's Rinnegan kept scanning the black wall-like rectangular material around him, and a terror between life and death instantly enveloped him. His intuition told him that if he fell into this trick, he would definitely die. You must leave the attack range of this technique. But just when he wanted to make a move, he found that his body was extremely heavy, as if blocked by an invisible force. The next moment, Aizen Sosuke's voice fell. Hado number 90 black coffin. Black wall-shaped rectangular materials poured in from all directions instantly. There was a bang, like a black coffin. Trapped Uchiha Madara in it. Aizen Sosuke said expressionlessly, the fully sung black coffin, are you satisfied with this gift? The moment the words fell, countless shadow blades came from all directions, instantly piercing through the dense black coffin. Madara. Senju Hashirama saw this and couldn't help but roared. Senju Tobirama's face darkened. This black coffin is countless times stronger than before. Not even Uchiha Madara in Six Paths mode can resist. Is it because Aizen Sosuke has become stronger? No. Maybe there's also the reason for that chant. Last time, Aizen Sosuke didn't read such a long paragraph. Tisk, Senju Tobirama gritted his teeth and stared at black coffin. Although he and Uchiha Madara didn't deal with each other, he was different now. Uchiha Madara died like this. Hopefully, Uchiha Madara, who has gained the power of Six Paths, can withstand this blow. But soon, the situation in Black Coffin extinguished his expectations. Black Coffin disintegrated, revealing Uchiha Madara. Dense blood holes instantly came into view. Traces of blood flowed down like a gurgling stream, and a pool of blood instantly formed at Uchiha Madara's feet. Plop. Uchiha Madara's eyes widened, he knelt straight on the ground, and then his upper body fell down. Just lying on the ground quietly, there was no more movement. An ominous premonition instantly enveloped everyone's hearts. Uchiha Madara, dead, Senju Tobirama asked in disbelief. No, impossible. Senju Hashirama shook his head vigorously, his eyes full of stubbornness. He did not believe that Madara would die like this. Senju Tobirama fell silent. He didn't want to believe it either, but the facts are right in front of you. Aizen Sosuke's eyes were cold. The power of Six Paths is nothing more than this. Just then, the ground near Uchiha Madara suddenly cracked. Soon, a huge flower suddenly surged out, followed by a thick rhizome, which almost instantly grew to the point where it could penetrate the sky. This giant tree blocking out the sky and the sun instantly attracted everyone's attention. Chapter 153. Interesting for you. Unveiling Tim Walls, the inspiring story of his family. More. 320. 80. 107. The giant tree kept swaying, and the flowers on the top turned back and forth, seeming to be looking for something. When he saw Uchiha Madara lying on the ground, as if he had found his target, he bent down the root and rushed directly to Uchiha Madara. When it touched Uchiha Madara's body, the giant tree did not stop at all and poured directly into Uchiha Madara's body. Boom. The strong beating of the heart came from Uchiha Madara's body again. As if being pulled by something, his body slowly rose from the ground and floated. What's going on? Isn't Uchiha Madara completely dead yet? Senju Tobirama's eyes widened and he stared at Uchiha Madara carefully, not wanting to miss any detail. Although the specific situation of this giant tree that suddenly appeared is unclear, it seems from now on that it has a lot to do with Uchiha Madara. Absorb the divine tree, absorb 10 tails, absorb everything. Who is it? A mysterious voice sounded from Uchiha Madara's mind. Let his consciousness gradually clear up. His eyelids moved slightly and he opened his eyes. What caught his eye was a huge tree that poured into his body mercilessly. Uchiha Madara looked stunned. He didn't feel any pain, but the scene was a bit like absorbing 10 tails before. He remembered the voice in his mind just now. Absorb the sacred tree, absorb 10 tails, absorb everything. Uchiha Madara murmured these words, and then stared at the tree that was crazily squeezing into his body. Sacred tree. Uchiha Madara's eyes flickered slightly, and she felt the powerful power coming out of her body again, and she suddenly realized, so that's how it is. He regained control of his body and stood in midair. He did not block the movement of the divine tree from squeezing into his body, but instead helped the divine tree to speed up. When everyone saw Uchiha Madara regaining consciousness, their eyes flashed with joy, and they felt relieved at the same time. Although everyone except Senju Hashirama dislikes Uchiha Madara. But it is undeniable that the current Uchiha Madara is the only person in the ninja world who can compete with Aizen Sosuke. Even if he still can't cause any harm to Aizen Sosuke, he will even be suppressed and beaten by Aizen Sosuke. But even so, it is much better than those of them who can't even get close to Aizen Sosuke. But, what exactly happened to Uchiha Madara today? After Uchiha Madara regained consciousness, she did not reject the giant tree. It is even actively absorbing giant trees. In other words, this giant tree is indeed related to Uchiha Madara. This scene also reminded Senju Tobirama of the previous situation when Uchiha Madara absorbed 10 tails. Could it be that? Is this giant tree something like 10 tails? After absorbing it, can Uchiha Madara's power star be raised to another level? The other side. The entire giant tree has been completely absorbed by Uchiha Madara. He shook his hand, and his aura suddenly exploded. So that's it, the sacred tree itself. Ha 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 ha. Uchiha Madara laughed loudly, the time has come to unite everything into one. Tread. Aizen Sosuke's eyes were calm. Even though Uchiha Madara was not killed by Black Coffin, and even his power was strengthened again, it did not cause any disturbance to him. Just walking slowly towards Uchiha Madara. When Uchiha Madara saw Aizen Sosuke, he paused slightly, and then said in a deep voice, "You alone can't defeat me." He raised his hand, shook it violently, and said loudly, "I have achieved complete immortality, that is, eternity." Aizen Sosuke looked calm and said calmly, "Don't speak out arrogantly. It will only reveal your weakness." Uchiha Madara narrowed his eyes, clapped his hands and said solemnly, "This is the final battle. Let me see whether your power is stronger or mine." Sage Art Yin escaped Thunder School. Purple thunder-like branches were released from Uchiha Madara's palm and crawled towards Aizen Sosuke. Why waste time using an ability that is useless to me? Aizen Sosuke's expression remained unchanged. When the force of the Yin Dun Lei sect touched him, Aizen Sosuke raised his hand and patted him lightly. Snapped. The Yin Dun Lei sect was shattered unsurprisingly. Tisk, even if he absorbs the power of the sacred tree, the magic released cannot affect Aizen Sosuke. Uchiha Madara's eyes sank slightly. The next second, Aizen Sosuke turned into light speed, came to Uchiha Madara's side, and slashed out with a light blade. Laugh. Uchiha Madara's eyes were slightly startled, and her whole body was cut in half. But Uchiha Madara did not die, not even a drop of blood. In the astonished eyes of everyone, Uchiha Madara abandoned his lower body and his upper body floated in midair, distancing himself from Aizen Sosuke. Uchiha Madara's face returned to calmness, and the lower body that disappeared almost grew back again in an instant. "I told you, I have achieved complete immortality." After finishing his words, Uchiha Madara raised his finger to the sky, and balls of black energy floated high in the sky. Uchiha Madara said indifferently, "Planetary devastation." Boom. The ground suddenly shook endlessly. Countless lands seemed to be attracted, gathering towards those black energies. In just a few seconds, huge boulders like meteorites floated in the air. Senju Tobirama stared and said in a trembling voice, "At least 10 meteorites. Uchiha Madara, does he want to kill us too?" Cursing secretly, Senju Tobirama quickly led the others to use the Flying Thunder God technique to relocate. Uchiha Madara crossed her arms, stood in the sky, looked down at Aizen Sosuke, and said calmly, "The sideshow should be over. The raindrops are harder and heavier." As soon as he finished speaking, planetary devastation suddenly hit Aizen Sosuke. The airflow in the air was disrupted by the planetary devastations, causing raging winds. Coming. Senju Tobirama used the Flying Thunder God technique, led everyone out of the attack range of planetary devastation, and looked at the battlefield between Uchiha Madara and Aizen Sosuke. Don't dare to miss any detail. Aizen Sosuke slowly raised his head. Even though there were countless meteorites above his head, his expression did not change at all. The wings behind him swung violently, and a scorching light instantly bloomed. The wings waved again, and the glaring light was instantly swung out and shot towards one of the meteorites. White lights flashed across the meteorite, and it disintegrated instantly with a buzz, turning into huge stones and falling from the sky. Seeing this, Aizen Sosuke repeated his old trick and chopped off a meteorite again. Seeing this scene, Senju Tobirama's eyes changed slightly. Such a powerful move was solved so easily by Aizen Sosuke. Although there are still many meteorites, if Aizen Sosuke continues like this, it was simply impossible to do any harm to Aizen Sosuke. I'm afraid even hitting the ground safely is a luxury. Uchiha Madara saw planetary devastation being dealt with easily by Aizen Sosuke, her face remained calm. It seems that it has been expected for a long time. He stared at Aizen Sosuke and whispered, "I'm afraid it's impossible to defeat today's Aizen Sosuke using ordinary means." He turned his back, no longer looking at Aizen Sosuke. With the blessing of the six paths, his body gradually rose until he reached the moon. At this time, the moon had turned light red without knowing when. Uchiha Madara raised his hand, grabbed the corners of his forehead, and opened the thick forehead protector. His eyes flickered slightly, remembering what he had seen before. According to the record on the stone tablet in Nanga Shrine, when the owner of the power of reincarnation approaches the moon, the eye of the moon, which is used to realize the infinite dream, will open. Following Uchiha Madara's words, a vertical gap gradually appeared on his forehead. He slowly closed his eyes. The next moment, the vertical slit on the forehead suddenly opened, one was filled with red, with circles on it, and 9 eyes decorated with black Magatama suddenly appeared. Reflecting the red moon in front of him, the pattern of the 9 Magatama Rinnegan is looming above the red moon. Infinite Tsukuyomi, start. Originally, Uchiha Madara didn't want to use Infinite Tsukuyomi so early. Because after he saw the power of Hogyoku, he thought of getting Hogyoku to further enhance his power. Then combine the power of Hogyoku and 6 paths to create a true, peaceful world without war. But he still underestimated Aizen Sosuke's strength. Even though he absorbed 10 tails and even absorbed the power of the divine tree, nothing seemed to change for Aizen Sosuke. After all, they are not his opponents. Taking Hogyoku from him became a delusion. Now, he only has the ability to catch Infinite Tsukuyomi, pull Aizen Sosuke into the infinite dream, and take away the Hogyoku from his chest. When the time comes, make plans to create a real world. The changes in the moon also attracted the attention of everyone present. Madara, did you do something? Senju Hashirama stared at the red moon with confusion on his face. Senju Tobarama analyzed. The pattern on the moon looks a bit like the combination of Rinnegan and Sharingan. But based on these alone, we don't know what Uchiha Madara wants to do. But at least we can understand that Uchiha Madara is definitely doing something big. Aizen Sosuke looked up, and after seeing the pattern on the red moon, the calm expression on his face finally changed. The red moon actually gave him a faint sense of threat. This threat does not come from Uchiha Madara, but from a deeper and more terrifying existence. Is there anyone else spying on this battle? Uchiha Madara opened her eyes, stared at the red moon, and said solemnly, "Illuminate the world, infinite Tsukuyomi." Black Zetsu hid in the darkness and stared at Uchiha Madara, his eyes full of excitement. It's finally starting. Mom, we will be reunited soon. Uchiha Madara turned around, raised her index and middle fingers in front of her, looked at Aizen Sosuke, grinned, and shouted, "Now, become one." The words fell. A huge female shadow loomed, and the red moon and 9 Magatama Rinnegan was exactly on her forehead. Senju Tobarama suddenly had a bad feeling in his heart. The next second, the red moon instantly bloomed with white light. Buzz. The gloomy sky instantly dissipated under this white light. Instead it was clear skies. The moon is like the sun, lighting up the entire ninja world. Under the illumination of this white light, everyone's eyes became exactly the same as Uchiha Madara's. Rinnegan. Sister-in-law. Senju Tobarama noticed something strange about Uzumaki Mito and couldn't help shouting. But Uzumaki Mito just opened his Rinnegan and stared sleepily at the white light moon in the sky. Mito, are you okay? Senju Hashirama pushed Uzumaki Mito's body, but Uzumaki Mito didn't react at all. Senju Tobarama saw this and looked around. Orochimaru and the other survivors, all of them, were all spared. All of them had Rinnegan in their eyes, staring blankly at the full moon hanging high in the sky. What happened? Uchiha Madara, what did you do? Moreover, why were he and his eldest brother not affected? Could it be? Senju Tobarama's thoughts changed rapidly. The only thing he and his elder brother had in common, and what was special, was the impure world reincarnation. Uchiha Madara stands high in the sky with indifferent eyes, as if he is a god overlooking all things. This light can penetrate shadows and make everyone invisible. And, the god of trees has arrived. Boom boom. The ground trembled instantly, and huge roots burst out of the ground. Strips of white cloth fell from the rhizome, wrapping all the people who had been hit by infinite Tsukuyomi and falling on the rhizome. And this kind of thing not only happened on the battlefield of the Third Ninja World War, but in every corner of the ninja world, huge roots broke out of the ground, and white cloth wrapped around people. Seeing this, Senju Hashirama grabbed the white cloth wrapped around Uzumaki Mito, and the strange power in Sage mode exploded instantly. Tear. The white cloth was torn to pieces by him. But the amount of white cloth is increasing, and it's impossible to tear it apart. Mito. Finally, in the shouts of Senju Hashirama, Uzumaki Mito was also wrapped in white cloth, along with the 9 tails in his body. Senju Hashirama saw this, his face was solemn, he looked at Uchiha Madara in the sky, and said solemnly, "Madara, what on earth are you going to do? Why do you want to involve innocent people?" On the other side, Aizen Sosuke's body was wrapped in a strange light, forming a radiant protective shield. There was no sign of Rinnegan in his eyes. Seeing this scene, Black Zetsu said in a hoarse voice, "Didn't the light penetrate the protective shield?" He placed his gaze on Aizen Sosuke's chest, and at a glance he understood the reason why Aizen Sosuke was not affected. He said in a deep voice, "Is that thing named Hogyoku actually superior to this move?" Uchiha Madara didn't pay attention to this. His eyes were full of strange excitement. His index and middle fingers were together and raised in front of him. His eyes were wide open and he said in a deep voice. Okay, the dream world without ominous chakra begins. Chapter 154. Okay, the dream world without ominous chakra begins. Above the battlefield, the full moon that hung high before was like the sun shining on all things, spreading light all over the world. On the huge tree trunk where the god tree realm descended, people wrapped in white cloth like silkworm chrysalis hung quietly on it. Uchiha Madara stood in front of the full moon, showing a twisted smile. The full moon shines with white light, and the 9 black Magatama stars on it are very obvious. After the white light lasted for a while, it gradually dissipated. The color of the sky returned to that of night again. The full moon also changed from white to scarlet. But the people who had been wrapped in white cloth showed no signs of waking up. Uchiha Madara floats in front of the red moon, quietly admiring her masterpiece. When he noticed Aizen Sosuke, his excited eyes gradually cooled. Surprisingly, you weren't affected by infinite Tsukuyomi. Uchiha Madara squinted her eyes and carefully observed Aizen Sosuke's condition. The radiant light shield on his body attracted his attention. Is it because of Hogyoku? Seeing the glowing Hogyoku on Aizen Sosuke's chest, Uchiha Madara's eyes flashed. At the same time, the desire for Hogyoku becomes even more intense. Even infinite Tsukuyomi's ability is isolated. Hogyoku is indeed an incredibly magical substance. Under Uchiha Madara's gaze, the light emanating from Hogyoku dissipated, revealing the form of Aizen Sosuke. Black Zetsu observed secretly and saw that there was no change in Aizen Sosuke, so he thought to himself, the light did not penetrate. Finished. Aizen Sosuke glanced at the surrounding scene and exclaimed, "What a magnificent illusion. However, this ability alone does not seem to be able to defeat me. Uchiha Madara had no expression on her face as she fell straight from the sky. Aizen Sosuke is surrounded by 4 shadows created by the Rimbukubana prison. Uchiha Madara said, I will not let you do anything again. I have cut off the cause and effect of this world and cut off people's suffering, pain and emptiness. Uchiha Madara waved his hand, stared at Aizen Sosuke and said, this is a world where all ninjas are not fighting. I turned hell into heaven. Hashirama's mistake was finally corrected by me. The war never stops, this is the ninja world created by Hashirama. Hashirama. 030. Why did the topic suddenly shift to him? Uchiha Madara didn't care about Senju Hashirama's feelings. He stared at Aizen Sosuke and continued, people now have beautiful dreams in the sacred tree. They are all in their own ideal world. Hearing Uchiha Madara's words, Aizen Sosuke suddenly smiled. Aren't they living in your ideal world? Uchiha Madara was not affected by Aizen Sosuke's words. I emerged from the long war of ninjas and ended the long-standing struggle as the savior. But, his Rinnegan flickered slightly, and his gaze moved down, placing it on Aizen Sosuke's chest. Infinite Tsukuyomi is imperfect after all. Infinite Tsukuyomi actually just created a beautiful dream world. If he hadn't met Hogyoku before, he might have thought Infinite Tsukuyomi was perfect. It is the most perfect technique that can end the war. But the appearance of Hogyoku opened his eyes to more possibilities. Aizen Sosuke lowered his head following Uchiha Madara's gaze, and then chuckled. Oh. So you want my Hogyoku? That's right, Uchiha Madara said with a passionate tone. As long as you give me that Hogyoku, I can evolve Infinite Tsukuyomi and create a truly peaceful and beautiful new world. Just give Hogyoku to me and it will be all over. Aizen Sosuke remained unmoved, but suddenly looked behind Uchiha Madara. When Uchiha Madara was surprised, there was a sudden pop, and a black hand grabbed his heart. Uchiha Madara's eyes suddenly widened. Wrong, Madara. Black Zetsu's hoarse voice sounded from behind Uchiha Madara. You are not the savior, and this will not end. Uchiha Madara wanted to turn around, but could only turn Rinnegan tremblingly, and barely looked at Black Zetsu with his peripheral vision. Can't move. What's wrong? Senju Hashirama in the distance saw Uchiha Madara being stabbed through the heart, his eyes filled with disbelief. Senju Tobarama frowned and said in a deep voice, isn't that Black Zetsu with Uchiha Madara? Black Zetsu continued. You, like Uchiha Fugaku, are just being used. Don't you, CDEF, find it ridiculous to think that you are the only one who is different? Black Zetsu smiled and said, Madara, you are actually also in a dream. That's the dream I painted for you. Uchiha Madara had a sullen face and stared at Black Zetsu with his peripheral vision. I created you are my consciousness. Black Zetsu opened his eyes wide and said in a deep voice, you are also wrong about this, my consciousness. It's Kaguya. The moment the words fell, waves of blue chakra suddenly rose from the silkworm chrysalis wrapped in white cloth on the trunk of the sacred tree. Senju Tobarama stared, the tree is absorbing chakra. Ah. Suddenly, Uchiha Madara roared, and black patterns like tree branches suddenly grew on her body. The Rinnegan prison released by Uchiha Madara using the Rinnegan also lost its support and disappeared. The earth suddenly trembled. A few bangs. Several blue chakra surged out from the ground and converged towards Uchiha Madara's body. Aizen Sosuke stood at Uchiha Madara, unfazed. But the windbreaker on his body kept whirring. But the ground beneath his feet was still intact. He looked at Uchiha Madara quietly, without making any move, and just said calmly, so, you are just a chess piece. Aizen Sosuke's words were like a sharp sword, piercing deeply into Uchiha Madara's heart. But he had no way to refute. Everything he has planned up to now is just to make wedding clothes for others. No, he doesn't believe it. Uchiha Madara's body was gradually covered by the black mud transformed by Black Zetsu. As if he thought of something, his eyes suddenly lit up. At least, I have used Infinite Tsukuyomi to bring peace to the ninja world. Ha, you are so naive, Madara. Black Zetsu mercilessly laughed at Uchiha Madara. Does this illusion still exist now? He pointed at the people who were wrapped in white cloth and hung on the tree trunks, and said sarcastically, do you think they are living in a dream? No, they will only be sucked dry by chakra. Exclamation mark quote. Uchiha Madara's eyes widened slightly. Black Zetsu, what are you talking about? Infinite Tsukuyomi is Uchiha's art that brings eternal peace to the ninja world. The Sage of Six Paths recorded this on the stone tablet. It's written on the stone tablet. The black mud on Black Zetsu's body kept falling, and he said in a hoarse voice, Madara, I have lived longer than you. I have a lot of time to find the stone tablet left by Hagoromo and correct it. Uchiha Madara's Rinnegan shuddered. Correction. Black Zetsu continued. Infinite Tsukuyomi is not a technique that gives people peaceful dreams, but a technique that concentrates the chakra everyone possesses and makes them extremely large. Black Zetsu explained while infecting Uchiha Madara with black mud. With Kaguya's consciousness. Uchiha Madara stared and said in disbelief. I actually did such a thing. Black Zetsu smiled and said. Just like you treat Uchiha Fugaku as a chess piece, you are actually just a chess piece. Hearing this sentence, Uchiha Madara's mentality suddenly jumped. The whole person seemed to be inflated and expanded instantly. Why does it become like this? Hashirama, where did I go wrong? In Uchiha Madara's endless unwillingness, the whole person was swallowed up by the black mud. Madara. Senju Hashirama saw Uchiha Madara being swallowed by the black mud and screamed hoarse. Subconsciously, he was about to rescue Uchiha Madara, but was held back by Senju Tobarama. Brother, even if you go there, you can't do anything. Senju Hashirama was startled and said in frustration, yeah, I can't do anything. Under their gaze, after the black mud expanded to a certain extent, thick and slender white hair suddenly grew out, and the black mud began to gradually shrink. A female face looms. After the black mud shrank to the size of a human, a woman with no eyebrows, a samsara Sharingan on her forehead, and a delicate and beautiful face suddenly appeared. She has pale skin, some blue-white, floor-length hair, 2 horns on her head, and long fingers. Wearing white clothes with black magatama tattoos. When she opened her eyes, a pair of shining white eyes came into everyone's eyes. Senju Hashirama and Senju Tobarama were stunned for a moment, then rolled their eyes. Almost instantly, they had a question. What is the relationship between this person and the Hyuga clan? Aizen Sosuke looked at Otsutsuki Kaguya calmly and said calmly, are you the so-called mastermind behind the scenes? Otsutsuki Kaguya did not answer Aizen Sosuke, but looked at him quietly, and then said in a cold voice, why do outsiders set foot on my territory? What? Black Zetsu huddled in Otsutsuki Kaguya's huge sleeves, staring at Aizen Sosuke with a pair of eyes, and exclaimed, Mom, you said this guy is a Weiwei. Black Zetsu's eyes were filled with astonishment. No wonder these guys appeared in the ninja world quietly, and they also have a calendar system different from chakra. It turns out that he is actually a person from outside the world. People from outside the world. Hearing this word, Senju Tobarama couldn't help but look at Aizen Monoseki in surprise. He thought about countless possibilities, but he never thought about visitors from outside the world. So to say, not only Aizen Sosuke, but those hollows, and even those ridiculously powerful Shinigami from the land of Uzumaki, are they also outsiders? In this way, it seems to be able to explain it. Why did the ninja world, which had not had hollows and Shinigami and those weird abilities for a long time, suddenly appear at the same time? But this information is really surprising. It turns out that there are other people in the sky outside the ninja world. But, is this woman who appears after swallowing Uchiha Madara away? Well, suddenly, a heavy sigh sounded from the hearts of Senju Hashirama and Senju Tobarama. The appearance of this voice instantly made the two people's hearts tighten and their muscles tense up. Take it easy. The old voice sounded again. A figure suddenly appeared in their minds. That was an old man with the same style as Otsutsuki Kaguya. There are 2 horns on his head and brown hair. Wearing a white coat, there are 6 black magatama-shaped patterns on the front of the chest, a red swirl-shaped logo on the back, and black magatama arranged in a 9-square grid below. The appearance of a mysterious man, who looks like the painting style of Otsutsuki Kaguya, can't help but make Senju Hashirama and Senju Tobarama wary. They looked at each other. The tacit understanding between brothers makes them understand that the other party must have encountered the same experience. The old man understood the vigilance of the 2 little guys and said in an old voice, to avoid misunderstanding, old man, let me introduce myself first. Old man, my true destiny is Otsutsuki Hagoromo. Also known as Sage of 6 Paths to you. Quote. Senju Hashirama and Senju Tobarama were shocked and their eyes suddenly widened. Sage of 6 Paths. That legendary existence is still alive. To be precise, I am already dead, otherwise I would not appear in your consciousness in this posture. In fact, he can appear in the state of soul, but he doesn't want to appear in front of his mother. That's why I chose this method. Senju Hashirama and Senju Tobarama didn't know the secret, but they were just wondering, why did Sage of 6 Paths appear? Sage of 6 Paths did not solve their doubts immediately. He just quietly glanced at the 2 people facing each other in the center of the battlefield, and sighed. I really didn't expect that so many things happened to Hyuga during the time when I was sleeping, old man. Affection. Quote. He looked at Aizen Sosuke with deep eyes, as if he wanted to know the details of the old man. This strange energy is indeed not a human from the ninja world. Senju Hashirama and Senju Tobarama were once again shocked when the people outside the world were confirmed by Sage of 6 Paths. Sage of 6 Paths shifted his gaze and looked at Otsutsuki Kaguya, his eyes full of complexity. Mom, have you really been planning to lift the seal? Mother. Upon hearing Sage of 6 Paths words, Senju Hashirama and Senju Tobarama were dumbfounded and exclaimed. Did they hear wrong just now? Sage of 6 Paths, for which woman what? Mother. Gudong. The 2 people inevitably swallowed their saliva, and their pupils trembled like an earthquake. It's like I heard some shocking secret. Sage of 6 Paths did not pay attention to the surprise of the 2 little guys, but murmured to himself, could it be that what my mother said about the extraterrestrial beings at that time was true? Did he and Hamura wrongly blame their mother? He was silent for a moment and then became firm again. Even if the so-called outsiders really target the ninja world, they should not sacrifice the humans in the ninja world and absorb their chakra to fight against the so-called outsiders. My mother is still too extreme. He believes that as long as the entire ninja world works together, the so-called outsiders will definitely be able to defeat them. Chapter 155. Interesting for you. The 7 most famous plus-size models in the world. More. 448. 112. 149. But, by now, it's already too late. Moreover, although my mother has been sealed for 1,000 years, her desire to take back all the chakra has not changed. If this continues, I'm afraid he can only repeat history again and seal his mother away. R. Sage of 6 Paths frowned. He was now a soul and had long since lost the power to seal his mother. Although he can give the power of yin and yang that seals his mother's power to people in this world. But in this world, there is no one who can withstand his yin and yang power. The most suitable people are actually his two sons who are trapped in endless reincarnation. B. Sage of Six Paths gave Senju Hashirama a deep look. Senju Hashirama and Uchiha Madara are the reincarnations of Ashura and Indra Chakra. Unfortunately, after their death, Ashura and Indra's chakra had already entered the next reincarnation. Senju Hashirama and Uchiha Madara have lost Ashura and Indra's chakra. But their new reincarnation has not appeared yet. I'm afraid, it's probably not in this era. This way. There is simply no one who can withstand and use his yin and yang power. It would probably be very difficult to seal my mother again this time. Sage of Six Paths looked at Aizen Sosuke. This extraterrestrial person. Very strong. This person is probably the most powerful person he has ever seen in his life, besides his mother. All I can say is that he is worthy of being an outsider who is feared by his mother. However, Aizen Sosuke's current strength is still far behind his mother's. It shouldn't be enough to cause harm to the mother. But, Aizen Sosuke, an extraordinary person, cannot be underestimated. Sage of Six Paths looked at the nearby terrain that had been changed beyond recognition, and felt a sense of emotion in his heart. I really didn't expect that such a tragic war would happen in the ninja world 1,000 years later. Fortunately, the mother is currently confronting the alien, and they still have time to think about how to save the ninja world. In this battle, whether the mother wins or the outsider wins, it is not good news for the ninja world. This, Sage of Six Paths, has a friendly relationship. Suddenly, Senju Tobarama's voice interrupted Sage of Six Paths, meditation. Sage of Six Paths understood what Senju Tobarama was asking and had no intention of hiding it. In other words, Sage of Six Paths never thought of hiding it from the beginning, otherwise he would not tell them about his relationship with his mother in front of them. Sage of Six Paths nodded. Yes, she is my mother. She is also the legendary ancestor of Chakra, the goddess of Uma, Otsutsuki Kaguya. The ancestor of Chakra, the goddess of Mao. Senju Tobarama and Senju Hashirama's eyes widened when they heard these two titles. Any of these titles sounds enough to make people tremble with fear. Not to mention, the ancestor of Chakra, what does this mean? Could it be that the so-called Chakra was created by Otsutsuki Kaguya? Thinking of this, Senju Tobarama and Senju Hashirama couldn't help but gasp. For the first time, they felt the long-buried truth of the ninja world. It's similar to what you think, but Mother is not the one who created Chakra, but the first person to get Chakra, and she will spread Chakra throughout the ninja world. That's why people call her the ancestor of Chakra. Senju Tobarama and Senju Hashirama suddenly realized. Then they got excited. The ancestor of Chakra must be very strong, right? And also the mother of Sage of Six Paths. This is Sage of Six Paths. As the mother of Sage of Six Paths and the ancestor of Chakra, she is absolutely incredibly powerful. In this way, wouldn't the ninja world be saved? Sage of Six Paths said in a deep voice. Mother, you are indeed very powerful. Even if Hamura and I join forces, we can only use sealing methods to barely seal my mother. Hearing these words, Senju Tobarama suddenly felt cold. Although Sage of Six Paths confirmed the power of Otsutsuki Kaguya, it also revealed a surprising news. That was when he and his younger brother sealed his mother with their own hands. Why, aren't they mother and son? Why does this happen? Sensing their doubts, Sage of Six Paths did not give in and sighed. Although mother can fight the extraterrestrial person named Aizen Sosuke, but it can't save the ninja world. Senju Hashirama and Senju Tobarama were shocked. Just listen to Sage of Six Paths continue. Mother, she has decided to take back all the chakra in the ninja world. Once the chakra is taken back by the mother, those who have the chakra in their bodies will die instantly. This is no different from destroying the ninja world. Senju Hashirama and Senju Tobarama were shocked and couldn't help asking. Goddess Uno, why do you do this? He clearly spread chakra to the ninja world, but he wants to recover chakra. Sage of Six Paths looked up at the sky with deep eyes and said in a deep voice, everything is because of the people outside the sky. In order to deal with the powerful aliens, Mother wants to take back all the chakra. Extraterrestrial beings. Another person from outside the world. Could it be that at that time, Otsutsuki Kaguya had already noticed the existence of people like Aizen Sosuke? Senju Hashirama and Senju Tobarama looked at each other, and they could see the surprise in each other's eyes. Sage of Six Paths continued. Originally, Hamura and I only thought it was Mother's excuse to reclaim chakra, but he looked at Aizen Sosuke with complicated eyes. But I didn't expect that the person Kaguya Sutsuki talked about was indeed someone. Senju Hashirama and Senju Tobarama also set their sights on Aizen Sosuke. Understand what Sage of Six Paths is trying to say. In this way, Sutsuki Kaguya may have wanted to prevent the ninja world from being invaded by outsiders. It's just that the methods are a little too extreme. Recycling chakra from other people's bodies is no different from telling others to die. How could such cruel methods be understood by others? But, Sage of Six Paths' eyes flickered, and he stared at Aizen Sosuke carefully, and said in a deep voice, although the people from outside the world do exist, they do not seem to threaten the mother's power. Why? Why does the mother insist on reclaiming chakra to defeat Weiwei? Aizen Sosuke is indeed powerful, even when he was at his peak, he might not be sure to win him. But it's not to the extent that the ninja world has to pay such a heavy price to defeat it. Zeet, the so-called outsider, is there anyone more powerful besides Aizen Sosuke? This made him a little confused. He doesn't know that Aizen Sosuke just happened to be mistaken for Otsutsuki Teru, the man from outside the world that Yoruichi has always been obsessed with. But in fact, the so-called outside the world mentioned by Otsutsuki Kaguya is someone else. And those people have the same last name as him, Otsutsuki. But these secrets were buried deep in Otsutsuki Kaguya's heart and no one ever disclosed them. Even her children only knew that their mother often looked at the stars in the sky, with some lingering worry in her eyes. And the one from heaven who never appeared. The other side. Uzumaki Chihiro, who was far away in the Seireiyan of Whirlpool country, was observing the battlefield of the Third Ninja War through a monitor. When he saw Otsutsuki Kaguya appear, his eyes suddenly lit up. All I can say is that she is worthy of being called the goddess of Mao. That noble and cold temperament and appearance are simply something I have never seen before. Before time travel, Uzumaki Chihiro was deeply amazed by her when he saw Otsutsuki Kaguya on TV for the first time. Unexpectedly, after traveling to the world of Hokage ninjas and meeting the real Otsutsuki Kaguya, he was even more surprised. Unfortunately, Otsutsuki Kaguya's appearance rate in the entire series of Hokage ninja is too low, and her full charm is not fully demonstrated. As for the appearance of Otsutsuki Kaguya, it did not surprise Uzumaki Chihiro. After all, he had already predicted it when Uchiha Madara became Ten-Tails Jinchuriki. Not solving Uchiha Madara before Otsutsuki Kaguya lifted the seal was already the result of Uzumaki Chihiro's tacit approval. As for whether letting Otsutsuki Kaguya come out like this will overturn the situation, Uzumaki Chihiro has also considered it carefully. He has enough confidence in Aizen Sosuke. Today's Aizen Sosuke is not in his complete form yet. What's more, Aizen Sosuke still has a more powerful form after being precipitated. In the Thousand-Year Blood War arc, Aizen Sosuke's posture is simply handsome. Moreover, this posture is also in the direction of Aizen Sosuke's evolution. Moreover, with the existence of Hogyoku, as long as Aizen Sosuke's will is not affected, he will only continue to evolve endlessly. In addition, the current strength of Uzumaki Chihiro cannot be underestimated. Asking for flowers. Besides, Uzumaki Chihiro opened the system panel and stared at the long queue-like numbers in the reputation value column, a glimmer of light flashing in his eyes. After Aizen Sosuke appeared on the battlefield, his reputation never stopped rising. There are also several evolutions of Aizen Sosuke, and the successive battles with Uchiha Fugaku and Uchiha Madara who have obtained the power of 6 paths, which makes the reputation value rise rapidly. At the same time, several tasks were completed and new spaces were unlocked. Invisible Empire. This is the kingdom of the Quincy, and its location is the Ice Palace hidden in the shadow of the Seireiyan. This new building can produce Quincy units for Uzumaki Chihiro. However, if you want to obtain those powerful characters in the original work at once, it is best to use reputation points to recruit them and strive to get them in place at once. Uzumaki Chihiro stared at the reputation value and began to recruit. First, part of the reputation points were spent to increase the combat power of the Hueco Mundo camp and the Shinigami camp. Then Uzumaki Chihiro began to recruit several Shinigami from Team Zero. Buzz. The giant golden door rippled in the space, and figures appeared in an orderly manner. The first person to appear was Futomea Wang Yu, who had black curly hair in the middle of his head that was part of the length of his neck. The rest of his hair was light green and slightly darker. He wears hip-hop style sunglasses, a sleeveless down vest like feather fabric, a grass green shirt under his death-defying outfit, and modern style slippers on his feet. There is a strong hip-hop flavor in her clothing. Point 0. Even Uzumaki Chihiro knew that Naomiya Wang Yu not only dressed in hip-hop, but also spoke in a hip-hop style. I believe that if he and Killer Bee met, they would have a great chat. Following closely behind was a woman. She has purple eyeshadow on her eyelids and red lipstick. She has black hair with bangs in a jifa style, and the hair on the back of her head is tied up by a golden hair ornament that looks like a combination of the sun and the crescent moon. There is a golden belt on the waist, and a white shoulder scarf is draped over the white feather fabric. The operator on the back is 6 golden hand bone prostheses, holding various types of musical instruments. As for her own hand, she didn't know where it was hidden. Shutra Senju Pills. Uzumaki Chihiro said her name silently in his mind. The founder of Death Overlord. At the same time, her Zanpakuto ability should not be underestimated, especially in the Thousand-Year Blood War chapter, which fully demonstrated her multi-layered abilities. Behind her was a tall, muscular man with a long face, a pointed nose, and long eaves. He had a straw stick in his mouth, and was wearing a long-sleeved and short-sleeved haori with no shoes on his feet. He was holding a wooden paddle with the word, Old Man, written on it. Of words. Tien Shilang of Kirin Temple. Immediately afterwards, another woman appeared. It's just that this woman has a lot more joy compared to the elegant Shutara Senjumaru. Hakafuna Kiryu. She has a chubby look with narrow eyes, purple hair tied on the back of her head, black swirling facial lines on both sides of her cheeks, and a large spoon in her hand. But Uzumaki Chihiro knew that Hakafuna Kiryu could transform into a beautiful woman with long purple wavy hair and a beautiful figure after consuming Reiatsu to cook. Its surrounding area is even much larger than Rangaku. Moreover, his words and deeds will also undergo drastic changes, making him completely different from when he was fat. The last person to appear was the leader of Team Zero, Ikibe Hayasube. Hayasube has a shiny bald head and a large, thick black beard, a broad nose and a tall build. A large crimson rosary hangs around her neck, her haori is shaped like a wide-sleeved coat, and she wears high-heeled clogs. His Zanpakuto ability is also very strange and extremely powerful. It should be at the same level as Yamamoto Genryusai. Because recruiting him cost Uzumaki Chihiro 1 million reputation points. Same price as Yamamoto Genryusai. As for the other four, they each spent more than 700,000 yuan to win. It can only be said that there is no simple person who can become the Zero Division. Recruiting the entire Zero Division cost nearly 3 million reputation points. The wallet that was just swollen has shrunk again. Fortunately, there are still more than 2 million reputation points, Uzumaki Chihiro thought for a moment. Decided to use these more than 2 million reputation points to recruit a heavyweight. After all, after the incident with Otsutsuki Kaguya is over, other characters from the Otsutsuki family may appear. Besides, even if he doesn't show up, Uzumaki is not ready to stay in the world of Hokage ninjas forever. Such a small place in the ninja world is simply not enough for him to toss around. Chapter 156. Interesting for you. The 7 most famous plus-size models in the world. More. 308. 77. 103. Uzumaki Chihiro's eyes flickered slightly, searching for a person with powerful strength in his memory. Suddenly, he remembered the Invisible Empire in the shadow of Jinglingting, and murmured to himself, today's Invisible Empire, the Invisible Empire still lacks a master. The decision is yours, you watch. But before that, Uzumaki Chihiro needs to ask whether his reputation is enough. System, if you want to recruit Yuwatch, how much reputation do you need? Ding. Host's current reputation value is 2.11 million, and he still needs 490,000 reputation points to recruit Yuhabak. Tisk. Uzumaki Chihiro smacked his lips, 2 million reputation points were not enough. It seems that there is indeed a big gap between Yuwatch and other Shinigami. But, Yuwatch can only be recruited with 2.6 million reputation points. Doesn't the full bloody battle of Aizen require even more reputation points? Hiss. Thinking about it this way, he really made a big mistake. Aizen Sosuke was recruited with just 1 million. Although Aizen Sosuke with 1 million reputation points has only just evolved his strength. But because of the existence of Hogyoku, his evolution speed is very fast. There is no need for Uzumaki Chihiro to spend more on reputation points to help him evolve, and he has already reached this level. Moreover, this evolution has not stopped until now. Aizen Sosuke is really the most cost-effective hero unit. Uzumaki Chihiro sighed inwardly, and then temporarily gave up the idea of recruiting Yuwatch. However, he has no plans to recruit other arms. After all, there is only 500,000 reputation points left, so it probably won't take long. After sending everyone from the 990 squadron to their posts, Uzumaki Chihiro once again focused his attention on the monitor. The appearance of Otsutsuki Kaguya means that the world of Hokage is almost finished. After solving the Otsutsuki Kaguya, the next step is the Otsutsuki clan in the universe. But Uzumaki Chihiro doesn't know when the Otsutsuki clan will come, so he can't just wait, right? He also wants to expand his territory in other worlds. Uzumaki Chihiro was lost in thought. He remembered that Otsutsuki Ashiki should be hiding somewhere in the ninja world. He should find this old Yinbi first. Moreover, he currently has no way to travel to other worlds. But he believes the system will find a solution. And one more thing. The troops in the Shinigami world have almost been recruited. I don't know if the troops in other worlds will be unlocked. Just as Uzumaki Chihiro was thinking about his next plan, the picture on the monitor changed. The battlefield of the Third Ninja War. Otsutsuki Kaguya looked at Aizen Sosuke expressionlessly. Anyone who has any ideas about her nursery must be eradicated. As soon as she thought about it, her long white hair suddenly moved on its own without any wind, as if it had life, and swung it wildly towards Aizen Sosuke. Seeing this scene, Sage of Six Paths said in a deep voice, "It's about to begin." After being reminded by Sage of Six Paths, Senju Hashirama and Senju Tobarama woke up from the coldness of knowing the truth about Ninja Ghost. Then I immediately focused on the battle between Otsutsuki Kaguya and Aizen Sosuke. As the ancestors of chakra, Senju Hashirama and Senju Tobarama are very similar. See with your own eyes what kind of power Otsutsuki Kaguya possesses. B. If it is so powerful that it makes people despair, where should the ninja world go? Worry flashed through their hearts, but nothing could be changed. We can only temporarily suppress this worry and carefully observe this high-latitude battle. Whoosh! Otsutsuki Kaguya's long hair kept hitting Aizen Sosuke, and there were loud blasts through the air. But all its attacks were easily dodged by Aizen. Snapped. Suddenly, Aizen Sosuke grabbed one of the long hairs and gently exerted force on his hand. Tear. Otsutsuki Kaguya's long hair broke instantly. Black Zetsu, who was hiding in Otsutsuki Kaguya's sleeves, saw this and said, "Mom, it seems that ordinary attacks cannot make him surrender, so don't hold back anymore." Otsutsuki Kaguya had no expression on his face and said coldly, "I said so." She looked around at the dilapidated environment and said expressionlessly, "This land here is my precious nursery. I can't let it be harmed anymore. End the battle, right here. Destroy you completely." The words fell. A buzzing sound suddenly sounded in the space. The surrounding environment changes instantly. A lava world with extremely high temperature and full of magma suddenly came into view. Senju Hashirama and Senju Tobarama who were watching the battle were also affected and came to this lava world together. Senju Hashirama and Senju Tobarama's eyes widened and their bodies fell in free fall. And below, there is a piece of lava. Illusion. Senju Tobarama looked surprised, wondering if he was under an illusion. But the scorching temperature below reminded him of the reality of this world. Senju Hashirama said solemnly, "It's not an illusion. I'm afraid we were transferred to another space." He turned to look at Senju Tobarama and said solemnly, "Tobarama, can you use the Flying Thunder God technique to move out?" The two brothers have not mastered the flying ninjutsu. If they continue like this, they will be swallowed up by the magma sooner or later. Although they are impure world reincarnation bodies that cannot die, the person who used this move is the ancestor of chakra after all. Who knows whether the impure world reincarnation bodies can still take effect after falling into the lava. In short, it is better to be cautious. Senju Tobarama also understands this truth. His eyes narrowed and he began to try to contact the Flying Thunder God technique from the outside world. But soon, his face darkened and he said in a deep voice, "No, the mark of Flying Thunder God is isolated by this space." This discovery shocked him very much. Flying Thunder God technique is a time and space ninjutsu. But this space can actually isolate spatial perception. All I can say is he worthy of being the ancestor of chakra? Senju Hashirama's face also darkened. Since the Flying Thunder God technique cannot be used, there is probably nothing we can do. We can only pray that these molten slags do not invalidate the immortality of impure world reincarnation. Just when the two of them were about to fall into the molten lava, they suddenly felt their bodies become light and floating in midair. Senju Hashirama. A look of surprise flashed in Senju Tobarama's eyes. At this time, the voice of Sage of Six Paths sounded from the bottom of their hearts. Although I am only in a state of soul, old man, I can still do such trivial things. It turns out to be Sage of Six Paths. Senju Hashirama and Senju Tobarama's eyes flashed with surprise. Thank you Sage of Six Paths for your help. Quote. Sage of Six Paths sighed. Now I can only do such small things. In fact, he can also give his yin and yang power to people in this world. However, there is no one in the entire ninja world who can withstand and use this power. Senju Hashirama and Senju Tobarama don't know what Sage of Six Paths is thinking. They stared closely at Otsutsuki Kaguya and sighed. This method of space transfer is really amazing. Her chakra is much more powerful than Uchiha Madara. She is worthy of being the ancestor of chakra. Sage of Six Paths also came back to his senses and explained, Heaven's control is a technique unique to the mother. A technique that can instantly transfer the world and people in it to other spaces. And, Sage of Six Paths said solemnly, there is more than one space like this. Senju Hashirama and Senju Tobarama were shocked. In other words, there are many other extremely harsh spaces like this lava space, right? Gudong. Senju Hashirama and Senju Tobarama swallowed their saliva one after another. Whether it was because of the temperature of this space or because they were shocked by this ability, their mouths suddenly became dry. But this space doesn't seem to have much influence on Aizen Sosuke. Because Aizen Sosuke is different from them. This guy can fly. But even so, even Aizen would be shocked to see such great power, right? Senju Tobarama subconsciously turned his attention to Aizen Sosuke, but found that Aizen Sosuke still had a calm face and seemed not to be affected at all. Nor was he shocked by Otsutsuki Kaguya's godlike abilities. Doesn't this guy know what fear is? Aizen Sosuke looked at the surrounding environment and tried to open the black cavity, but found that the space back to the original world had been blocked. If he wanted to go back, he could only re-lock the coordinates. But for him, this is just a matter of time. Right here, defeat her and go back. And Otsutsuki Kaguya had the same idea. Veins suddenly appeared on her cheeks, and she looked at Aizen Sosuke's body with her white eyes. As she perceived, chakra did not exist in Aizen Sosuke's body. But there is a different kind of energy. A race other than the Otsutsuki clan. As a member of the Otsutsuki clan, Kaguya Tsutsuki's vision is better than anyone else in the ninja world. I also understand that in addition to the Otsutsuki clan, there are other races in this starry sky. However, even the well-informed Otsutsuki clan may have never seen the energy of Aizen Sosuke. But since Aizen Sosuke does not have chakra in his body, there is no value in existence. Her purpose from beginning to end is to recover all chakra and deal with the coming Otsutsuki clan. The sacred tree has been bearing fruit for thousands of years. Now that the 1,000-year period has arrived, it is time for the Otsutsuki clan to send people to recover the fruits of the sacred tree. But there was something about Aizen Sosuke that made her very concerned. That is the sphere with a purple halo on its chest. I learned from Black Zetsu's memory that action is called Hogyoku. There was finally a hint of fluctuation in Otsutsuki Kaguya's cold expression. The power contained in that Hogyoku is actually deeper than the energy in the fruit of the sacred tree. What kind of creation can have such a power zone? Otsutsuki Kaguya's eyes changed slightly, and then he quickly forgot about it. No matter what kind of existence that Hogyoku is, as long as Aizen Sosuke is eliminated, she will naturally get Hogyoku. By then, there will be plenty of time for her to research. Moreover, Otsutsuki Kaguya had a premonition in his heart. This Hogyoku might be able to give her a way to deal with the Otsutsuki clan. Otsutsuki Kaguya's eyes opened slightly, and endless hardened hair suddenly shot out from his long hair, and shot into the acupuncture points of Aizen Sosuke's body through Byakugan's observation. Aizen Sosuke's face was calm, and a thick green barrier rose in front of him. Dang dang. The sound of the clashing of gold and steel echoed continuously. But can never. Break through Aizen Sosuke's defenses. All the attacks of the rabbit hair needle were blocked, and there was no fluctuation in Otsutsuki Kagaya's eyes. She slowly raised her hand and swung her palm towards Aizen Sosuke. 80 Gods Air Strike. Boom. A huge blue beam of light instantly hit Aizen Sosuke. Kaka. The defensive shield in front of Aizen Sosuke was attacked by Yajigami's air attack, and there was a crisp cracking sound. In less than a second, it suddenly exploded with a bang. Yajigami's air attack did not lose any force and hit Aizen Monoyosuke's body directly. Aizen Sosuke frowned slightly, bearing the 80 Gods Air Strike head-on. Even though he had evolved several times, his body still felt a pain from being squeezed. And he turned around and looked at the lava beneath him. His body, under the pressure of Yasugami's aerial attack, fell towards the direction of the lava below. Without hesitation, Aizen Sosuke transformed into light form again. Yasugami's air strike lost its target and hit the molten underground. Boom! The lava is attacked and explodes instantly. Molten pillars soared into the sky. Seeing this, Sage of Six Paths controlled the bodies of Senju Hashirama and Senju Tobarama, constantly clinging to the erupting molten pillar. Aizen Sosuke, who had transformed into a light form, let these molten pillars hit him, but it was of no avail. Seeing this, Black Zetsu said in a deep voice, "Mom, Aizen Sosuke in this form seems to be immune to many attacks. He must be trapped first." Otsutsuki Kagaya's eyes were cold, but she also listened to Black Zetsu's suggestion. She had a thought in her mind. With a buzzing sound, the space changed again. The whole world is filled with a burst of blue, and the cold air in the sky seems to be able to freeze everything. The nearby Senju Hashirama and Senju Tobarama were also moved. Looking at the scene in front of him, he said in a deep voice, "This time, is it a frozen space?" Sure enough, as Sage of Six Paths said, this ability called Heaven's Control has many kinds of spaces with extreme environments. Aizen Sosuke glanced around and said calmly, "Is this the frozen world this time?" After he finished speaking, he looked at Otsutsuki Kagaya and said calmly, "You don't think that you can defeat me in a different environment, do you?" "Mom, don't talk nonsense with him, kill him as soon as possible." No need to be reminded by Black Zetsu, Kagaya Sutsuki thinks the same way. Continuously casting Tianzhong, her chakra was also consumed a lot, and she could not continue like this. She had a thought in her mind. The entire frozen space began to squirm instantly, and then launched a fierce attack on Aizen Sosuke. Aizen Sosuke narrowed his eyes slightly and said, "So, is it possible to control the natural environment in space?" Chapter 157. Whoosh. In the frozen space, the cold wind blows on people's faces, like a knife cutting them. Giant icicles suddenly rose and attacked Aizen Sosuke. In conjunction with Otsutsuki Kagaya's Yasugami air attack, which strikes from above, Aizen's right range of movement is narrowed. And this is also the purpose of Otsutsuki Kagaya. Aizen Sosuke's eyes were calm and he looked at the surroundings calmly. At the same time, try your best to avoid attacks coming from all directions. The attack of each icicle and the cold air coming from it made Aizen Sosuke's body feel stiff. It felt like I was frozen. He tried to use light form to break through the siege, but when his light particles touched the ice, the light particles seemed to have entities. Wisps of cold air rose from the light particles and were directly frozen in the air. This discovery made Aizen Sosuke's eyes freeze. Even light can be frozen. Is the ice here actually so cold? His light form mode seems to have lost its proper effect in this frozen world. Senju Tobarama, who has been paying attention to Aizen Sosuke and Otsutsuki Kagaya, also noticed Aizen Sosuke's plight. Aizen Sosuke seems to be at a disadvantage. Senju Tobarama looked at Otsutsuki Kagaya's attack methods and Aizen Sosuke's hasty response, and suddenly felt a little emotional. Aizen Sosuke, who had trampled everyone under his feet before, never expected to see such an embarrassing scene. Really, as the founder of Chakra, Otsutsuki Kagaya possesses powers that are beyond the reach of others. If this continues, will Aizen Sosuke, the stone that has been weighing on their hearts, finally lose? Only, after Aizen Sosuke's defeat, there is still a greater crisis waiting for the ninja world. Otsutsuki Kagaya, although it sounds like her purpose is to deal with people from outside the world, it actually threatens the lives of humans in the ninja world. If Otsutsuki Kagaya recovers everyone's chakra, this power can indeed resist the attacks of the aliens. But Ninja World 23 has also existed in name only. This is no different from being invaded by people from outside the world. But, if according to what Otsutsuki Kagaya said, Aizen Sosuke is the one from heaven. It seems that Otsutsuki Kagaya does not need to do so extreme to defeat Aizen Sosuke. After the battle is over, maybe you can have a chat with Otsutsuki Kagaya and try to use negotiation methods to find a glimmer of hope for the ninja world. Moreover, now they have no other option except negotiation. Be it Aizen Sosuke or Otsutsuki Kagaya. These two people are no longer beings that they can defeat. Negotiation is the only method nowadays. It's called negotiation, but it's actually just asking for mercy. Senju Tobarama laughed at himself. After living in the ninja world for so many years, this was the first time he felt so powerless. Whether it was during the Sengoku period or after the founding of Konoha, when had they ever fallen to the point of needing to beg for mercy from others? It's true, things are impermanent. The more he thought about it, the more complicated Senju Tobarama's mood became. Senju Hashirama is not as thoughtful as Senju Tobarama, but he is also worried about the unknown future of the ninja world. However, Sage of Six Paths, words pulled the two of them out of this mood. Sage of Six Paths carefully observed the battle between Aizen Sosuke and his mother, and said solemnly, "Mother, even though she has been sealed for 1,000 years, she is still so powerful." When he saw his unrivaled mother in front of him, he couldn't help but think back to the time when he and Hamura worked so hard to seal his mother away. Now, the mother broke the seal, but the ninja world no longer had the power to seal the mother again. And, this is just the extent that my mother has just broken the seal and has not fully recovered her full strength. Hearing Sage of Six Paths soliloquy, Senju Hashirama and Senju Tobarama's hearts trembled. Couldn't help but look at Otsutsuki Kaguya. Isn't this tyrannical strength the full strength of Otsutsuki Kaguya? How terrible would it be if she were allowed to fully recover? Unfortunately, no one can stop the current Otsutsuki Kaguya. You can't put your hopes on Aizen Sosuke, right? Etc. Senju Tobarama's eyes widened, and he suddenly remembered the information he had forgotten before. He said solemnly, "According to the information I learned from Monkey and Orochimaru before, there is a person named Lord behind Aizen Sosuke. And until now, that king has not appeared." Thinking of this, Senju Tobarama's heart tightened. Aizen Sosuke is already powerful enough. He was even able to barely compete with the so-called ancestor of chakra. If the being behind him who is revered as the king appears, wouldn't he be on the same level as Otsutsuki Kaguya? Could it be that being named the king is the outsider that Otsutsuki Kaguya is really afraid of? Hiss. Thinking of this possibility, Senju Tobarama couldn't help but take a breath. Sage of Six Paths narrowed his eyes when he heard Senju Tobarama's words and his inner speculation. Is there actually a behind-the-scenes instigator behind this person named Aizen Sosuke? Since he can be called a king, his status is even higher than that of Aizen Sosuke. Then Sage of Six Paths reasonably believes that this being who is revered as the king is definitely stronger than Aizen Sosuke. Maybe, it is really possible to be on par with my mother. Although he didn't think it, nor had he seen anyone with his own eyes who could really be on the same level as his mother. But since it can make my mother so afraid, she must have a reason. In addition, the identity of Aizen Sosuke has been confirmed, so the person behind it is definitely the person who is truly feared by his mother. If the person behind Aizen Sosuke appears, the mother who has just been released from the seal and is still in a weak stage may not be that person's opponent. Thinking of this, Sage of Six Paths' eyes flashed with worry. If mother fails in this war, then the ninja world would completely lose its freedom. He didn't know what the so-called outsider would do after occupying the ninja world. Until this time, he began to hope that his mother could win. And, it would also be a good thing for the ninja world if there was a way to help mothers win without having to recycle chakra. But for now, let's defeat Aizen Sosuke in front of us first and then talk about other things. Uzumaki Chihiro, who is far away in the land of Whirlpool, does not know that he is actually thought to be the big boss behind the scenes by Sage of Six Paths and others. But, it seems to be about the same. After all, both Hollow and the Third Ninja War launched against the entire ninja world were all planned by him. But now, after defeating Otsutsuki Kaguya, it can be said that there is no one in the entire ninja world who can compete with him. Aizen Sosuke alone is enough to suppress the entire ninja world. Moreover, after recruiting so many troops, he also obtained the unfathomable Li Huang. It's time for a showdown with the entire ninja world. Next, the ninja world will enter the era of rule by the Kingdom of Whirlpool. The other side, in the frozen space, Aizen Sosuke's entire body was surrounded by solid ice. The Reiatsu blade in his hand cut off the nearby ice roots. But the ice seems to be endless. As soon as one is cut off, countless more will come up. In this anxiety, patches of ice gradually appeared on Aizen Sosuke's body. Aizen Sosuke's eyes flashed slightly, but before he could make a move, frost instantly covered his body. Countless pieces of ice instantly condensed on him. A heavy ice coffin immediately froze him. Seeing this scene, Senju Tobarama murmured, "Aizen Sosuke, is it frozen like this?" It wasn't until Aizen Sosuke was really sanctioned by Otsutsuki Kaguya that he felt an unreal feeling come over him. After all, the former Aizen Sosuke was like a huge mountain, weighing on everyone's hearts and making them breathless. But just now, Aizen Sosuke was completely frozen by the ice controlled by Otsutsuki Kaguya while he was watching. Sage of Six Paths looked at the scene in front of him quietly and said softly, "The battle is over." Otsutsuki Kaguya floats in the air, her thick long hair dragging very long. The body slowly floated towards Aizen Sosuke. Su raised his hand and gently touched the ice that sealed Aizen Sosuke. It seems that he is caressing Aizen Sosuke in the ice coffin, but those who understand the secret of Aizen Sosuke know. Otsutsuki Kaguya is not caressing Aizen Sosuke, but the glowing collapse on his chest. Black Zetsu was stunned for a moment, then said, "Mom, do you want that piece of Hogyoku too?" Sage of Six Paths narrowed his eyes slightly and said in a deep voice, "Sure enough, it is impossible for mother not to be aware of the energy contained in that piece of Hogyoku." After hearing what Sage of Six Paths said, Senju Tobarama was stunned, and then asked, "That piece of Hogyoku, is it really so magical?" It actually attracted the Sage of Six Paths and the ancestor of chakra. Aizen Sosuke, he really has something amazing. Sage of Six Paths nodded, stared at Hogyoku, and said solemnly, "Even if I only have my soul left now, the first time I saw that piece of Hogyoku, it gave me a way to gain my strength again. A feeling of evolution. I believe that my mother also discovered the characteristics of this Hogyoku." His eyes flickered slightly, but he didn't say a word. He was not surprised that this piece of Hogyoku could attract him. But even mothers are attracted to it, which shows its high level. Maybe. This level of Hogyoku is even higher than the mother. Where did this extraterrestrial person get this magical substance? Otsutsuki Kaguya stared at Hogyoku, his eyes seeming to sink in. At this moment, a slight sound suddenly sounded from the solid ice. Otsutsuki Kaguya woke up instantly. Under his eyes, the subtle cracks in the ice were clearly visible. Black Zetsu also heard this crisp sound. He said solemnly, I didn't expect that this Aizen Sosuke is really tenacious. Isn't it possible that this level of ice can't even trap him? Senju Tobirama was surprised. It happened. Although he saw subtle changes on the unstable ice, he could also tell from Otsutsuki Kaguya's reaction that there was definitely an accident. Sage of Six Paths explains, Aizen Sosuke is about to break the seal. Hearing these words, Senju Tobirama and Senju Hashirama's pupils shrank suddenly. At this moment, Black Zetsu suggested, Mom, stop saving chakra, just kill it here. Otsutsuki Kaguya's white eyes flickered slightly, as if he was thinking about something. 250 Black Zetsu said, are you worried about that piece of Hogyoku? Otsutsuki Kaguya didn't speak, but as Kaguya's will, Black Zetsu clearly knew what she was thinking. If that piece of Hogyoku can be destroyed by my mother, it proves that it is nothing more than that. Black Zetsu's words instantly awakened Otsutsuki Kaguya. She nodded, opened her lips slightly, and said coldly, I understand. The words fell. Otsutsuki Kaguya raised his plain hand, and in his palm, a decayed bone spur slowly emerged. Seeing this, Sage of Six Paths opened his eyes slightly. We are killing the ashes together. Kill the ashes together. Senju Hashirama and Senju Tobirama, who saw this move for the first time, had doubts in their eyes. Sage of Six Paths said solemnly, this is the most powerful technique in the mother's blood inheritance net. Once it is touched, the body will collapse instantly. As the Sage of Six Paths explains, the ashes of the killer are also mercilessly shot at Aizen Sosuke by Otsutsuki Kaguya. Laugh. Killing ash bones together was not hindered in the slightest. The solid ice was pierced like tofu and inserted into Aizen Sosuke's abdomen. Kaka. The cracked ice coffin shattered instantly, revealing Aizen Sosuke's figure inside. Aizen Sosuke slowly lowered his head and looked at the slightly decayed bone spur. The moment he was stabbed again, he could feel that his body was completely destroyed. Kaka. Cracks covered Aizen Sosuke's body. Like dry and cracked earth. Snap. Aizen Sosuke's body was like a broken stone, starting to fall off bit by bit. Senju Hashirama and Senju Tobirama widened their eyes and murmured, is this the case of killing the ashes together? Otsutsuki Kaguya controlled his body and floated towards Aizen Sosuke. He reached out to Aizen Sosuke's chest with one hand and grabbed the Hogyoku that was emitting a strange light. Hogyoku did not live up to her expectations. They were not wiped out by the ashes of the co-killers. She slowly pulled out the Hogyoku, and in her calm eyes, a flash of joy flashed after getting the Hogyoku. After touching this Hogyoku with her own eyes, she was able to appreciate its power even more. With the presence of Hogyoku, she can definitely resist the Otsutsuki clan. Hogyoku, it's mine. She took Hogyoku and turned away, paying no attention to Aizen Sosuke. Aizen Sosuke, who had been killed by a gangster, had already been given a death notice in her heart. Aizen Sosuke quietly watched the back of Otsutsuki Kaguya, his body falling like a sieve. Even so, his face remained calm. Alf, I have accepted my own death. Chapter 158. Otsutsuki Kaguya raised the rose-colored Hogyoku in his hand, and his eyes reflected the unique light of Hogyoku. But Aizen Sosuke behind him is like an old wall that has been in glory for a long time, falling off bit by bit. Senju Tobirama stared at Aizen Sosuke and murmured, is it over? Just as he finished speaking, there were just a few clatters, and Aizen Sosuke instantly turned into a lime-like substance and dissipated in the air. Senju Hashirama's eyes moved and he said softly, it seems that Aizen Sosuke is really dead now. Even someone as strong as Aizen Sosuke is so powerless against the founder of chakra. The death of Aizen Sosuke should have been a happy thing for them. But after thinking that they would face an enemy stronger than Aizen Sosuke next, they were not happy at all. Sage of Six Paths stared at Otsutsuki Kaguya in the sky and said solemnly, Mother, you are still as powerful as ever. But, Sage of Six Paths is less pessimistic than Senju Hashirama and Senju Tobirama. Perhaps, Aizen Sosuke's death was a good thing for them. Because the mother got the Hogyoku that contained terrifying power. As long as we find a way to harness the energy in Hogyoku, maybe my mother will give up on recovering the chakra. Not to mention, according to Sage of Six Paths, the energy in that Hogyoku is more powerful than the chakra scattered in every corner of the ninja world. I believe my mother can feel it too. Boom. At this moment, a powerful heartbeat suddenly came from the entire frozen space. Sage of Six Paths' face changed slightly, and his eyes instantly scanned every corner of the entire frozen space. But nothing was found. What's the situation? The sudden change made his eyes become confused and uncertain. Even Senju Hashirama and Senju Tobirama are a little confused. Whose heartbeat is so loud? Hiding in the wide sleeves of Otsutsuki Kaguya, Black Zetsu's smile suddenly froze. Who is it? A hoarse and impatient voice suddenly sounded. Otsutsuki Kaguya also looked away from Hogyoku, but there was no movement on her face. Even though she heard the strong heartbeat in the frozen space very clearly, she was unmoved. His face was still cold and calm. She glanced in the direction of Senju Hashirama and Senju Tobirama out of the corner of her eye. Just one glance made Senju Hashirama and Senju Tobarama sit on pins and needles. They froze in place, like fish on a chopping board, ready to be slaughtered. The first time they looked at Otsutsuki Kaguya finally gave them a clear understanding of the terror of Otsutsuki Kaguya. He also deeply understood what kind of existence Aizen Sosuke was actually fighting just now. I couldn't help but feel my sincere admiration for Aizen Sosuke. To be able to fight against such a being, Aizen Sosuke is indeed very powerful. If it weren't for the sudden appearance of Otsutsuki Kaguya, Aizen Sosuke's plan to rule the ninja world would have been completed. Pity. The plan that could succeed as long as Uchiha Madara was defeated was actually disrupted by Otsutsuki Kaguya. He even hit himself in it. But, who was this heart-beating sound? Otsutsuki Kaguya glanced at them, and then looked back expressionlessly. The sound of heartbeats was not coming from them. Moreover, they do not have the kind of strength that can affect the entire frozen space. FFLX. Who is it? Could it be that someone followed her in secretly when she wasn't paying attention? Otsutsuki Kaguya rolled his eyes, and his face was instantly covered with veins. Suddenly, Otsutsuki Kaguya's white eyes shrank sharply. Puff. The whole person's lower abdomen was penetrated directly from behind. What a fast speed. Otsutsuki Kaguya's mouth was bleeding, and his eyes were filled with disbelief. She didn't even see the figure with her white eyes, and her lower abdomen was suddenly penetrated. Mother. Black Zetsu couldn't help but scream when he saw Otsutsuki Kaguya being hit. Senju Hashirama and Senju Tobarama immediately followed the voice and looked towards Otsutsuki Kaguya. All he could see was that his pure white robe had been dyed red by his own blood. Senju Tobarama said numbly, "The ancestor of chakra is actually injured." Sage of Six Paths lowered his eyelids, his eyes full of disbelief. Mother, was she actually hurt? The fight he and Hamura had with their mother didn't even touch the dust, let alone hurt her. That's why he was so surprised to see his mother injured. At the same time, he also set his sights on the person who hurt his mother. He frowned and said in a deep voice, I saw a white, human-like and monster-like thing appearing behind Otsutsuki Kaguya. His face was black, the skin on both sides of his face was torn, and there was an eye-like gap on his forehead. There are 3 holes in the upper body, and a black slender blade extends from the right hand. There are huge wings on its back, and there is a skull on each wing bone, 6 in total. This familiar yet unfamiliar look immediately reminded everyone of the person from before. Aizen Sosuke. Senju Hashirama and Senju Tobarama looked at each other and subconsciously exclaimed. I was shocked. Wasn't Aizen Sosuke dead just now? In front of their eyes, they were killed by the ashes of Otsutsuki Kaguya who could destroy everything. But now, Gudong. Senju Hashirama and Senju Tobarama swallowed subconsciously. With such a level of attack, the Buddha statue couldn't completely kill Aizen Sosuke. It seems that he has obtained an even more terrifying evolution. However, wasn't Hogyoku already taken away by Otsutsuki Kaguya? Why did Aizen Sosuke evolve anyway? Senju Tobarama's eyes flashed with deep doubts. Sage of Six Paths can't figure it out either. Through Senju Hashirama and Senju Tobarama, he also remembered the identity of the monster in front of him. Although the appearance has changed drastically, some similarities can still be seen in subtle ways. But after being struck by the ashes of his mother's death, he still didn't die. This Aizen Sosuke is really shocking. You must know that even if he, Sage of Six Paths, is killed by his mother, he will only be wiped out. But the Aizen Sosuke in front of him broke his cognition. And that's even after losing Hogyoku. People from outside the world are scary. Sage of Six Paths' heart sank. It's as if I understand why my mother had to fight against the outsiders in such a big way. Whether it's the Hogyoku that contains terrifying energy, or the Aizen Sosuke who's resurrected from the dead, both give people a cold terror. Fortunately, although the mother seemed to be seriously injured, Sage of Six Paths also understood that the mother was immortal. And, there is good news, at least Hogyoku is in the hands of the mother. As long as he can use Hogyoku's power like Aizen Sosuke did before, I believe Aizen Sosuke will only lose sooner or later. It's exactly what Sage of Six Paths imagined. Otsutsuki Kaguya's body shook, and the black blade that pierced her abdomen was shaken out of her body. Then the wound healed instantly, and even the hole in the pierced robe was sewn up. Otsutsuki Kaguya had cold eyes, wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth with slender fingers, and said in a cold voice, Do outsiders actually survive under the ashes and murders of the common people? There was no expression on Aizen Sosuke's black face, but the always calm voice sounded from his body. Evolution is often accompanied by fear. Just now, I experienced the fear of being wiped out. Aizen Sosuke's eyes flickered and he stared at Otsutsuki Kaguya and continued, Thank you, because of you, I have now officially become an existence above the realm of Shinigami and Hollow. Otsutsuki Kaguya's eyes opened slightly. What's the meaning? As soon as this thought flashed through her mind, Aizen Sosuke's figure disappeared instantly. Bang! Otsutsuki Kaguya was suddenly hit in the abdomen and back, and his whole body hit the thick icicle with a bang like an arrow from the string. Mother. Seeing this, Black Zetsu felt anxious. Just when Aizen Sosuke was about to attack again, Black Zetsu suddenly saw Hogyoku, his eyes lit up, and he said in a deep voice, Aizen Sosuke. Don't forget, your Hogyoku is still in RE. Hearing this, Aizen Sosuke's attack movement suddenly stopped. Seeing this, Black Zetsu's eyes flashed with pride, he stared at Aizen Sosuke, and said in a hoarse voice, Aizen Sosuke, you don't want Hogyoku to be ruined like this, do you? Aizen Sosuke's eyes were calm, and then he attacked Otsutsuki Kaguya again, seemingly not taking the threat of Black Zetsu seriously. Black Zetsu's eyes flashed with panic, and he hurriedly said, Aizen Sosuke. Aizen Sosuke said in a calm voice, how can Hogyoku be such an inconvenience? Hearing these words, Black Zetsu was suddenly stunned. What do you mean? At this moment, the Hogyoku in Black Zetsu's hand shines brightly. Aizen Sosuke's voice sounded again. Hogyoku has been completely integrated with my consciousness. Do you think that if you get Hogyoku, it will be yours? Black Zetsu's eyes suddenly opened. The next second, Hogyoku disappeared in an instant and returned to the hole in Aizen's chest. How can it be? Black Zetsu's voice was heartbreaking, as if he couldn't believe this fact. Not only Black Zetsu, but also Sage of Six Paths and others did not expect Bengai to have such a secret minister. Become one with Aizen Sosuke's consciousness. Senju Tobirama's eyes flickered and he said solemnly, maybe that's why Aizen Sosuke didn't die under the ashes of a common murderer just now. Hogyoku and Aizen Sosuke's consciousness merged into one. Doesn't that mean that as long as Hogyoku is not destroyed, Aizen Sosuke's consciousness will never be destroyed? And Hogyoku can use Aizen Sosuke's consciousness to resurrect him again. Hiss. In this way, wouldn't Aizen Sosuke become a truly immortal monster? Thinking of this, Senju Tobirama felt cold all over and shuddered. Just thinking about it is scary. Especially since Aizen Sosuke, a being who is extremely harmful to the ninja world, is immortal. Then wouldn't it be possible for the ninja world to never succeed again? Sage of Six Paths frowned. He did not expect that Aizen, an outsider, would be so difficult to deal with. And, Aizen Sosuke has evolved again, and it seems that even his mother can't suppress him. Moreover, the mother who has just released the seal has not yet returned to her prime. What will happen next? I'm afraid that's not good. Sage of Six Paths understands the truth, and Otsutsuki Kaguya, as a person involved, naturally understands it even more clearly. Through the few attacks just now, she could clearly feel. The power of that outsider has become even stronger. Even stronger than she is now. And Hogyoku was also taken back. Otsutsuki Kaguya's heart sank. To be honest, she didn't expect Hogyoku to become one with his consciousness. This made her careless. However, she did not expect that she would have to face a person of this level just after the seal was released. The Aizen Sosuke in front of us is no less dangerous than the Otsutsuki clan. Call. A sound broke through the air. The surrounding space even begins to distort. Otsutsuki Kaguya's eyes narrowed. Although she was a little bit behind Aizen Sosuke's speed, she still understood Aizen Sosuke's coming attack through instinct. Buzz. The space behind Otsutsuki Kaguya suddenly tore apart like a black hole. She didn't hesitate. The sun penetrated in. The next second. A buzzing sound. The space closes instantly. The figure of Aizen Sosuke appeared and stopped at the place where Otsutsuki Kaguya disappeared just now. Did you escape using space transfer? Escape. Escape. Senju Tobirama looked surprised. It seems that I did not expect that the legendary ancestor of chakra would actually be a deserter. Sage of Six Paths explained. My mother's power has not yet been fully restored, and the kings thought that in order to defeat the current Aizen Sosuke, it would take time to regain her former strength, so this is a delaying strategy. I see. Senju Hashirama looked stunned. I believed this rhetoric without the slightest doubt. Only Senju Tobirama was speechless. It is worthy of being called Sage of Six Paths, and even escaping can be said to be so high-sounding. However, this is also a method that cannot be helped. Who made Aizen Sosuke evolve again with a strength that even surpassed that of the chakra ancestor? He set his sights on Aizen Sosuke and saw that Aizen Sosuke had been staring at the place where Otsutsuki Kaguya had just disappeared. Senju Tobirama, who has a thorough study of time and space, can see Aizen Sosuke's intention at a glance. He hesitated and said, Aizen Sosuke, are you trying to tear apart space and go to the location of the ancestor of chakra? Hearing this, Sage of Six Paths smiled and said, don't worry, Aizen Sosuke really wants to do this, but it is absolutely impossible for him to do it. Senju Hashirama and Senju Tobirama looked at him with puzzled faces, their eyes full of why. I don't seem to understand why Sage of Six Paths is so full of words. Sage of Six Paths stroked his long beard and said, all the spaces in Mother's heavenly palace are completely independent and not in the same dimension. As long as there is no Mother's consent, it is absolutely impossible for anyone to cross this space barrier. Ah, Senju Hashirama suddenly spoke up, pointed at Aizen Sosuke in the sky, and said, but Aizen Sosuke, it seems that he has really found the location of the ancestor of chakra. The confidence on Sage of Six Paths' face froze, and he immediately looked at Aizen Sosuke. I saw Aizen Sosuke raise his hand and tap lightly into the air. A buzzing sound. The black hole that appeared before Otsutsuki Kaguya appeared instantly. Inside the black hole is the scene of the primordial space. Sage of Six Paths' eyes suddenly widened and he exclaimed, how is this possible? Chapter 159. Interesting for you. The 7 most famous plus-size models in the world. More. 636. 159. 212. How can it be? Sage of Six Paths saw the appearance of the first sphere space in the black hole, and he couldn't help but exclaim as he obviously knew the information about his mother's heavenly palace. As someone who has personally experienced the power of the heavenly palace, I can clearly understand the extremely powerful space barrier between the heavenly palace. Even he had to go through a lot of hard work before he could find a way to get in and out of the celestial palace. That's why he was certain that Aizen Sosuke could not cross the barrier in space and go to his mother's location. At least, it is impossible to break through the space barrier in a short time. But Aizen Sosuke's actions at this time really shocked him. After the space transfer from his mother, Aizen Sosuke tore apart the space and found the location of the origin space. How long has it been since then? Under his heavy expression, Aizen Sosuke walked into the black hole without any pause. Initial ball space. Otsutsuki Kaguya closed her eyes slightly and quickly recovered her chakra and the power that once belonged to her. After returning to the ball space, Black Zetsu also breathed a sigh of relief. The re-evolved Aizen Sosuke is terrifying. Even hiding in my mother's sleeves, I felt a huge sense of oppression. But, Black Zetsu's eyes twinkled slightly. Aizen Sosuke is still too careless. It actually gave my mother the opportunity to travel through space. As long as you give your mother enough time to restore the chakra, you can regain your former calendar. Aizen Sosuke is nothing to mention. You really don't think that after gaining Hogyoku's power, your evolved power will be comparable to your mother's, right? Black Zetsu sneered. As Kagaibuki, he has a firm belief in his mother's strength. As long as the mother successfully escapes the period of weakness that has just been broken, no one in the ninja world can stop the mother's plan. His eyes were deep and he looked around the ball space. There was no trace of worry in his eyes. As the incarnation of his mother's will, he also knows the characteristics of his mother's abilities. In the Imperial Palace of Heaven, there is absolutely no possibility of any problems. But that's it. Suddenly there was a clicking sound from the Beichu space. Black Zetsu's heart tightened and he subconsciously looked in the direction of the sound. I saw that somewhere in the space of the beginning sphere was suddenly filled with cracks. Under his gaze, it suddenly shattered like glass. A black hole-like entrance suddenly came into view. The scene in the black hole is the frozen space and Aizen Sosuke. Aizen Sosuke. Black Zetsu's eyes widened, filled with disbelief. 060 seemed unable to believe that Aizen Sosuke's figure would suddenly appear. Number 2. The primordial space has been found. Moreover, it seems that Aizen Sosuke is tearing apart space. The confidence he had in Tianji Yuzhong just now seemed to have turned into the palm of his hand, giving him a crisp slap. It made his face feel hot and painful. The sudden change forced Otsutsuki Kaguya to open his eyes and stared at Aizen Sosuke with cold eyes. The sudden appearance of Aizen Sosuke interrupted her efforts to restore her chakra and strength. Under their gaze, Aizen Sosuke stepped lightly into the starting space. Almost immediately, he noticed the specialness of this space. I see. Aizen Sosuke's eyes flickered, and he said calmly, is this the center that connects several other spaces? Black Zetsu was shocked. Unexpectedly, Aizen Sosuke saw the clues of Tien Zhejiang's move at a glance. Otsutsuki Kaguya had no mood swings. Obviously, Aizen Sosuke at this time has reached the same status as the Otsutsuki clan in her mind. Being able to see through the heavenly palace, there is nothing to be surprised about. Even when Aizen Sosuke found the Heiko space, she was not surprised at all. From the beginning, she understood that even if she hid in the beginning space, it would not last long. I just want to spend as much time as possible to regain my former strength. Pity. After only recovering a little, he was found by Aizen Sosuke. I don't know if this current strength can cope with the current Aizen Sosuke. Aizen Sosuke looked at the starting space and lost interest. Okay, the cat and mouse game is over, let's decide the winner here. Otsutsuki Kaguya's heart sank. Is there any other way to restrain Aizen Sosuke? Transferred to gravity space. But the gravity space is limited only to those who possess chakra. However, Aizen Sosuke does not have a drop of chakra in his body. If she rashly transfers to the gravity space, it will help Aizen Sosuke deal with her. What's left? Sand, space. It may be a space that is difficult for others to contend with, but for a character like Aizen Sosuke, it obviously won't have much effect. Tisk. She seems to be at the end of her rope. Although I have seen this scene in my dream a long time ago. But she always thought that the only ones who pushed her to this level were the Otsutsuki clan. But he didn't expect that it would be Aizen Sosuke in front of him. Aizen Sosuke doesn't intend to continue like this. This war has lasted long enough. Aizen Sosuke's eyes flashed and he disappeared instantly. Call. A strong wind blew up, making Otsutsuki Kaguya's robes whistle. Otsutsuki Kaguya's beautiful eyes shrank. There was no sign of Aizen Sosuke in his Byakugan. Aizen Sosuke's speed was so fast that even Otsutsuki Kaguya's Byakuya couldn't catch it. At this time, a fierce sound of breaking through the air suddenly sounded behind Otsutsuki Kaguya. Otsutsuki Kaguya felt the hairs on the back of his neck suddenly stand up. A terrifying danger instantly enveloped her. Following his instinct, Otsutsuki Kaguya gave up his original posture and appeared as 10 tails. The monster shape of a giant white rabbit took shape instantly. Just after she transformed, black light flashed behind her. Puff. The white flesh on his body was cut instantly. Otsutsuki Kaguya, a look of surprise flashed across the rabbit's face. She wasn't surprised that she was hurt. After all, before the transformation, it was to defend against Aizen Sosuke's attack. What shocked her was the torn space around her. Could Aizen Sosuke's casual blow be able to tear apart space? Otsutsuki Kaguya was shocked, but he did not forget that he was in a battle. After taking a blow from Aizen Sosuke, he didn't pay attention to his injuries. After all, it was 10 Tails who was injured, and she was not affected at all. Instead, he controlled the tail of 10 Tails and swept Aizen Sosuke. 10 giant tails crawled all over Aizen Sosuke's body like an octopus, wrapping around him tightly. Seeing Aizen Sosuke trapped, Otsutsuki Kagaya's bunny face turned around, and an energy ball filled with aura of destruction instantly condensed. Then it turned into a chakra beam and shot towards Aizen Sosuke's face. Aizen Sosuke's expression was calm, but a skull on the wing bone suddenly stretched forward. A purple energy ball gathered instantly, shooting towards the chakra light beam with a bang. Boom. 2 energy beams collide. A violent explosion sounded instantly. Purple light fills the entire space of the beginning sphere. Even this light spread into the frozen space along the black hole that Aizen Sosuke split before. The light was so bright that Senju Hashirama and Senju Tobarama had to raise their hands to block the dazzling light. As a soul body, Sage of Six Paths was not affected, but her eyes were full of worry. Mother. Although they are in different spaces. But through the black hole that Aizen Sosuke tore open, they could also vaguely see what was happening in the ball space. The battle between Aizen Sosuke and Otsutsuki Kagaya also caught their eyes. Sage of Six Paths has just seen the scene of Aizen Sosuke tearing apart the space barrier in the sky, and he has deeply understood the terrifying strength of Aizen Sosuke. Although I don't want to admit it, my mother's current strength is probably. See Dag, he is really no match for Aizen Sosuke. He said solemnly. It seems that this battle will have a result. Senju Hashirama and Senju Tobarama's hearts sank. The light gradually faded away, and they also put down their arms that were blocking the light, opened their eyes, and tried their best to look into the space of the first ball. Regardless of the outcome. In other words, whether it is Otsutsuki Kagaya's victory or Aizen Sosuke's victory, it is not a good thing for the ninja world. But at present, they do not have the strength to prevent this situation. The fate of the ninja world may have been determined from the beginning. Just when they're feeling down, the light in the space of the beginning sphere also completely dissipated. Mother. Black Zetsu hurriedly checked on Otsutsuki Kagaya. When he saw that Otsutsuki Kagaya was still alive, he subconsciously breathed a sigh of relief. But soon, the relaxed look on his face froze. Because of his mother, Otsutsuki Kagaya is not in a good condition at this time. The huge body transformed by 10 tails almost disappeared in the explosion just now. On the other hand, Aizen Sosuke stood in midair with a calm face, his body was still spotless, and he seemed not to be affected in any way. Seeing this scene, I subconsciously panicked. There was a voice in his heart that kept telling him that Aizen Sosuke seemed to be stronger than Otsutsuki Kagaya. No, it's impossible. Black Zetsu's face turned ferocious, and he said in a hoarse voice, Kiss is the most powerful. How could he be defeated at the hands of others? Boom. The words just fell. Otsutsuki Kagaya's swollen body was suddenly hit hard and flew straight out of the hospital. With a sneer, he accurately hit the hole that was torn open by Aizen Sosuke. Crunchy. Otsutsuki Kagaya's expanding body kept squeezing the black hole, and then there was a bang, and the space was instant. Boom. Otsutsuki Kagaya's huge body crashed into the frozen space from the initial sphere space, and hit the huge iceberg directly. Crash. Otsutsuki Kagaya shook his rabbit head, and the ice shards on his body fell instantly and were thrown everywhere. But apart from the injuries from the previous explosion, there were no other signs of injury on his body. It can be seen that although Aizen Sosuke's blow just now seemed very heavy, an attack of this level could not cause damage to Otsutsuki Kagaya. Otsutsuki Kagaya stared at Aizen Sosuke in the space on the other side. The flesh of half of his body that was destroyed by the explosion slowly squirmed and regenerated new flesh. Aizen Sosuke also slowly walked out of the ball space, looking down at Otsutsuki Kagaya with calm eyes. Senju Tobarama saw this and whispered, It seems that the current situation is a bit one-sided. Senju Hashirama also looked solemn. This really surprised them. After Aizen Sosuke evolved again, it was obvious that Kagaya couldn't keep up with Aizen Sosuke's strength. However, Otsutsuki Kagaya is the legendary ancestor of chakra after all. I believe there must be some trump cards that have not been used, right? It was just as they thought. After Otsutsuki Kagaya's body recovered, a black ball suddenly appeared and floated quietly in front of Otsutsuki Kagaya. That is, Senju Tobarama narrowed his eyes. This black ball looks very familiar. Both Uchiha Fugaku and Uchiha Madara, who had previously absorbed 10 tails, appeared behind them. Truth-seeking ball. Only. What makes Senju Tobarama strange is that Uchiha Fugaku has 6 and Uchiha Madara also has 9. And Uchiha Madara is obviously stronger than Uchiha Fugaku. So logically speaking, Otsutsuki Kagaya's truth-seeking ball shouldn't only have sun balls, right? Doesn't this seem to be inconsistent with her powerful strength? Senju Tobarama looked confused. But Sage of Six Paths, who knew the inside story, had no such doubts. Instead, after seeing this truth-seeking ball, his whole person suddenly became serious. Mom, it seems that you want to use this move to decide the outcome. Knowing Otsutsuki Kagaya's intentions, Sage of Six Paths had no joy. But more solemn. Being able to make the mother use this trick proves that the mother is completely at her wit's end. If even this trick fails, then the result waiting for my mother is defeat. Under his solemn expression, the truth-seeking ball on Otsutsuki Kagaya suddenly expanded. From a small ball, it expands to the size of a human in an instant. It will expand again in the next second. Twice as big as before. Senju Hashirama and Senju Tobarama, who saw the form of truth-seeking ball for the first time, immediately widened their eyes and murmured, This is. Sage of Six Paths said in a deep voice, This is the mother's most powerful ability, expanding the truth-seeking ball. Under their watch, the truth-seeking ball expanded again. A truth-seeking ball the size of a meteorite suddenly rose into the sky. The nearby space suddenly distorted, and was finally wiped out in an instant. The entire frozen space was filled with strong winds and the icebergs were melting, as if it was the end of the world. The whole world is trembling. Senju Hashirama and Senju Tobarama stood on the ground, their bodies shaking as the space vibrated, and they exclaimed, "What is going to happen?" Sage of Six Paths seemed to have anticipated this situation, and his expression was extremely calm. Seal the power of all things and summon the rolling sphere of chaos. What? Senju Hashirama and Senju Tobarama were a little confused when they heard Sage of Six Paths' words. The jet black sphere, is it talking about the truth-seeking ball? Sage of Six Paths was not interrupted by their voices and continued, "It can destroy all properties and return the world to nothingness. It is also the starting point of a new space." His eyes flickered and he whispered, "This is Mother's inflated truth-seeking ball." Chapter 160. Interesting for you. The 7 most famous plus-size models in the world. More. 191. 48. 64. Buzz. Under the gaze of everyone, the inflated truth-seeking ball gradually floated into the sky. The volume looks like a full moon hanging high, but the color of this full moon is pitch black. Aizen Sosuke stood quietly in midair, not affected at all. Even though the power contained in the expanded truth-seeking ball was extremely terrifying, it even gave him a sense of threat. Just some creaking. A series of teeth-piercing voices sounded from behind Aizen Sosuke. The 6 skulls on the wing bones of its wings kept twisting and slowly stretched in front of Aizen Sosuke, aiming in the direction of Otsutsuki Kaguya. To be precise, it should be the inflated truth-seeking ball above Otsutsuki Kaguya. The 6 skulls on the wing bones opened their mouths in unison, and purple energy stars gathered in front of their teeth. It's the same move that was used to deal with the Otsutsuki Kaguya chakra beam before. This is the ability acquired by Aizen Sosuke after evolving again, Radiation Break. And these 6 skulls burst into flames. It's called the ultimate Radiation Break. Buzz. 6 energy balls with a purple halo gradually merged to form a huge purple energy ball, and lightning flashed around it, tearing the space apart. Although it is much different in size from the inflated truth-seeking ball, it can still make people feel the breath of terror and destruction contained in it. Sage of Six Paths looked away from the expanding truth-seeking ball and looked at Aizen Sosuke's ultimate radiation break. When he felt the energy being compressed to ultimate, he frowned. Mother's expanding truth-seeking ball has the power to destroy everything, but Aizen Sosuke's energy ball is obviously not a good thing. The final result is still confusing. However, he came across another cabinet. This frozen space is destined to be destroyed. Sage of Six Paths said in a deep voice. You too, be prepared, this place will be destroyed soon. What? Senju Hashirama and Senju Tobarama were stunned for a moment, seemingly not hearing clearly what Sage of Six Paths just said. But soon, they no longer need to hear clearly what they just said. I saw the ultimate radiation blast in front of Aizen Sosuke suddenly burst out. The terrifying Reiatsu instantly fills the entire space. Boom. Waves of air swept through every corner of the entire space. The endless ice was shattered instantly. Countless ice shards fell from the sky like raindrops. The earth split instantly, and bottomless giant cracks emerged. The bodies of Senju Hashirama and Senju Tobarama kept shaking as the space vibrated. Their faces were solemn, and they concentrated chakra on the soles of their feet, holding on to the ground tightly to prevent their bodies from being bumped around by the changes in space. His gaze was inevitably directed towards the purple beam of light that was shooting towards the expanding truth-seeking ball. His eyes couldn't help but be filled with shock. Just the launch caused the entire space to vibrate. If this energy continues to be released, won't this frozen space be destroyed? Kaka. At this moment, in addition to the sound of ice falling and the earth breaking, there was also a faint sound of breaking in the frozen space. Senju Tobarama subconsciously looked for the direction of the sound, and saw that the white space was suddenly filled with cracks. Pieces of glass fell to the ground and shattered into pieces, revealing a space full of dark tones. Seeing this, Senju Tobarama's face hardened and he said solemnly, this space is about to be destroyed. He has an in-depth study of time and space ninjutsu and understands what this phenomenon is. Because the energy released by Aizen Sosuke may be powerful, this space began to gradually collapse. If this continues, there is only one result waiting for this frozen space, and that is destruction. And they, because of the destruction of this space, will fall into the endless darkness of the King of Space Turbulence. Thinking of this, Senju Tobarama subconsciously activated the Mark of Flying Thunder God technique, hoping to connect with the space of the ninja world. But no matter how he tried, the final result was failure. Seeing this, he looked intently at Aizen Sosuke and Otsutsuki Kaguya. He said in a deep voice, Aizen Sosuke and Otsutsuki Kaguya, aren't they afraid of falling into the turbulence of space? Senju Tobarama knows that both of them have their own time and space abilities, but even if they control the time and space abilities, space turbulence is not random. If you fall into the turbulence of space, your time and space ninjutsu will be affected by the turbulence, and you will not be able to open the space barrier at all. In the end, you will be completely lost in the turbulence of space, withstanding the beating and torture of space. Until the destination of death. As someone who can travel through space, Senju Tobarama does not believe that Aizen Sosuke and Otsutsuki Kaguya do not understand the danger of falling into space turbulence. But the two of them were still not ready to stop. It's really, really crazy. Boom. As they watched, the purple energy beam hit the expanding truth-seeking ball, knocking it ruthlessly away from Zhou Chen. For a moment, it seemed as if the entire space and time had stopped for a moment. Then the truth-seeking ball expanded rapidly, like an inflated balloon, after it could no longer withstand the influx of energy. Exploded with a bang. After the expansion truth-seeking ball exploded, the entire space was swallowed by darkness. Sound, temperature, time, everything seems to have disappeared. Senju Hashirama and Senju Tobarama's ears suddenly became silent, and their eyes only saw Aizen Sosuke and Otsutsuki Kaguya confronting each other. Senju Tobarama's eyes were dull and he murmured, "It's gone, everything is gone." The entire space seemed to have turned into a sky. Light, sound, time and other things that were just concepts were all turned into nothingness in the explosion just now. What a terrifying power this is. Gudong. Senju Tobarama couldn't help but swallow his saliva. I thought I had seen wonderful scenery before. Who knew that after the scenery, there would be even more wonderful pictures waiting for him? Senju Hashirama was also shocked by this horrific scene. This kind of power is simply a miracle. It can indeed be called the power of God. Sage of Six Paths quietly stared at the scene in front of him, his face slightly calm. But if you look carefully, you can still see the shock in his eyes. You know, he is Sage of Six Paths. Thousands of years ago, he had clearly seen the scenery on the top of the mountain, but now he was still shocked by the scene in front of him. He has always respected his mother as a god. The goddess of Ura is also recognized by the entire ninja world. But now, Aizen Sosuke, who can fight with the goddess Uno and even gain the upper hand, can also be called a god. No, or, Aizen Sosuke, they have always regarded themselves as gods. 57. From the beginning, Aizen Sosuke and the Uzumaki country had told them. They are gods. It is a god that symbolizes death. It's a pity that no one has thought about this, and just blindly think that this is just their arrogant self-proclaimed. Senju Tobarama suddenly remembered what they called themselves. Shinigami. As expected, Shinigami, ah. They were inexplicably shocked, but they still suppressed the shock. Because the battle between Aizen Sosuke and Otsutsuki Kaguya isn't over yet. But, it seems to have reached the end. I saw that Otsutsuki Kaguya had returned to his original human form. It seems that he can no longer maintain the body he had in 10 Tails just now. The originally cold white eyes also revealed a strong look of exhaustion. The whole person's chest was also rising and falling, as if he was breathing heavily, and it seemed that he had reached the point of exerting himself. On the other hand, Aizen Sosuke is still standing high in the sky. The 6 skulls have returned to their respective positions. The whole person did not seem to be tired. It seemed as if he was still able to do it with ease, and could even continue to fire a few more shots of the energy beam just now. Judging from this point alone, Otsutsuki Kaguya seems to have lost. Unless Aizen Sosuke was also holding on and didn't show any effort. But anyone with a discerning eye should be able to see that Aizen Sosuke is not forcing himself. But it really doesn't consume much energy. Mother, I'm going to lose. Sage of Six Paths said in a deep voice. Will my mother, who is as invincible as a god, fail one day? Until now, Sage of Six Paths finally understood why my mother was so afraid of those illusory outsiders. It should be true, they are too strong. It's so powerful that even if the mother tries her best, she can't even hurt him in the slightest. The mother at that time was not looking for excuses to reclaim her power. Thousands of years later, Otsutsuki Hagoromo finally learned the truth. Endless regret arose in my heart. He deserves to die. If he and Hamura hadn't sealed their mother for 1,000 years, they would have accumulated strength over 1,000 years. Maybe the results will be very different now. But even if it happens again, I'm afraid he will join forces with Hamura to seal his mother, right? After all, if you haven't seen it with your own eyes, how can you believe the information that breaks your perception? And Senju Tobarama doesn't have much feeling anymore. Aizen Sosuke and Otsutsuki Kaguya. No matter who wins, it doesn't matter anymore. Please give me flowers. Seeing this kind of power, he was completely defeated. Just tell him, who in the ninja world can stop Aizen Sosuke and Otsutsuki Kaguya with such strength? They destroy the world at every turn, but they take the lead to save the ninja world. Tired, destroy it. Senju Hashirama has already seen through it. These two people, even 100 of them, have no chance. This is no longer a gap in strength, but a gap in life level. The two people have broken away from the category of human beings. God. That's right. Is it possible for humans to defeat gods? But, the Kingdom of Whirlpool probably never thought that this would be the case, right? Senju Tobarama suddenly remembered the country of Whirlpool far away in the ninja world. You know, Aizen Sosuke and I still have some disputes. Aizen Sosuke is a person who defected from the country of Uzumaki. Thinking of the time before, he and his eldest brother went to the country of Whirlpool to ask for help, and even told about Aizen Sosuke. But the Whirlpool Kingdom still looked indifferent, which made him furious. What else can you say about Aizen Sosuke, the traitor? They will naturally deal with it. Solve. What a crapshoot. Don't kill Aizen Sosuke in one fell swoop while he's still weak. Now that you have grown to this point, how about taking the lead and solving it? If we didn't cooperate and achieve win-win results, now we're just waiting to die together. Senju Tobarama doesn't believe that Aizen Sosuke's forces will let the Kingdom of Whirlpool loose after occupying the ninja world. Let's all wait to die together. Anyway, he and his eldest brother were already dead. Oh. It's just a pity for the Konoha they worked so hard to create. As well as Tsunade and Nawaki in the land of Whirlpool. They are obviously still so young, and they are about to go to the Pure Land world to reunite with them. Well, just when Senju Tobarama sighed, Black Zetsu was not in a good mood either. As Kaguya's will, he can clearly perceive the immediate condition of Otsutsuki Kaguya's body. Mom's chakra, there's not much left. The newly expanded truth-seeking ball has consumed almost all of the chakra. It happened that the entire space was destroyed, but that annoying Aizen Sosuke was still not harmed at all. Where did this guy come from? Why target their mother and son like this? Black Zetsu whispered. Mom, you don't have much chakra left. We'd better take the opportunity to escape, rest for a while, and find our place. Using your Yoshizumi Hirosaka's time and space abilities, we will definitely be able to escape. Otsutsuki Kaguya looked cold and ignored Black Zetsu's suggestion. Escape. Where to escape? Tien no Gochu has been cracked by Aizen Sosuke. As long as Aizen Sosuke knows the location of the first sphere space, he can reach any of her spaces through the time and space ability. Are you going to escape to the ninja world? The land of the ninja world is so big, where can we escape to? It will eventually be found. What's more, there are still some threats from the Otsutsuki clan. She believes that as long as the Otsutsuki clan comes to the ninja world, they will definitely be able to find her location. Otherwise, she would not have thought about recovering chakra and fought against the Otsutsuki clan. But before she could fight against the Otsutsuki clan, she would be defeated by Aizen Sosuke. From Black Zetsu's memory, it seems that there are many people like Aizen Sosuke. They called themselves Shinigami and even established a country. The Kingdom of Whirlpool. Puff. Suddenly, a lightsaber penetrated Otsutsuki Kaguya, pinning her to the black space. Otsutsuki Kaguya's face was expressionless, not even showing pain. There is no surprise about this sword. Because Aizen Sosuke didn't throw the sword behind her back, but she didn't have much chakra left. Facing this kind of attack, there is no way to avoid it. But, after eating the fruit of the sacred tree, she became immortal. Otsutsuki Kaguya raised his head, looked at Aizen Sosuke with calm eyes, and said calmly, "You can't kill me. She will not die. No matter what degree of injury you suffer, you will not die. The only way is to seal her." And, it was eaten by the Otsutsuki clan as the fruit of a sacred tree. Aizen Sosuke was not affected by her words. Originally, he had never thought of killing Otsutsuki Kaguya. Sudden buzz. In the dark space, a dazzling golden light slowly rose. The golden and simple giant door is looming. Senju Hashirama and Senju Tobarama's eyes widened, and a sense of deja vu came to their hearts. It's the space-time ninjutsu used by Zaraki Kenpachi before. Sword. Chapter 161. It's the space-time ninjutsu used by Zaraki Kenpachi before. Senju Tobarama's eyes widened instantly when he saw the giant golden door gradually emerging from the black space. I remember the time and space ninjutsu used by Zaraki Kenpachi when he came from the land of Whirlpool to hunt down Uchiha Madara. Could it be that Zaraki Kenpachi followed? Senju Tobarama's eyes flashed with doubts. Speaking of which, it seems that Otsutsuki Kaguya's space transfer did not transfer Zaraki Kenpachi with him. Senju Tobarama subconsciously looked for Zaraki Kenpachi in the black space. As expected, except for Aizen Sosuke and Otsutsuki Kaguya above. Only he, his eldest brother, and Sage of Six Paths in Soul State were left in the entire black space. But Zaraki Kenpachi has long since disappeared. Was it forgotten by Otsutsuki Kaguya? Or because of something? But Senju Tobarama doesn't think that Otsutsuki Kaguya has forgotten Zaraki Kenpachi there. After all, even he and his eldest brother, two insignificant figures, were enveloped by the scope of its spatial transfer and followed him together. Impossible to be closer to the fight. Uzumaki Zaraki Kenpachi was forgotten by Otsutsuki Kaguya. So, did Zaraki Kenpachi use some method to voluntarily escape from Otsutsuki Kaguya's space transfer? I really can't believe that Zaraki Kenpachi, with his personality like joining in the fun, would miss the war between Otsutsuki Kaguya and Aizen Sosuke. Could it be that there are other more important things? However, no matter what it is, Zaraki Kenpachi's character is still the same as what he showed. I just used time and space ninjutsu to find him. Senju Tobarama subconsciously believed that behind the golden ancient gate was Zaraki Kenpachi. 490. But what makes him strange is that Zaraki Kenpachi does not have the coordinates of Tianji Zhong, so how did he find it? Moreover, the space barrier of Otsutsuki Kaguya's Amon no Chu is very hard. Even if he possesses the time and space ninjutsu, it is absolutely impossible to break through the space of Amon no Chu. His Flying Thunder God technique is a perfect example. B. Senju Tobarama narrowed his eyes slightly. Unless Zaraki Kenpachi is as powerful as Aizen Sosuke. But that's obviously impossible, although Zaraki Kenpachi is also very powerful, through his observation. There is still a big gap between Zaraki Kenpachi and the current Aizen Sosuke. It is simply impossible to tear apart the space barrier in the Heavenly Palace. Not to mention, now they have been deeply trapped in the turbulence of space. He did not believe that Zaraki Kenpachi, who had mastered the ability of time and space, would not be aware of the situation on the other side of space. But Zaraki Kenpachi was obviously stubborn and had no intention of stopping. It seems that the turbulent flow of space is not taken seriously. The appearance of the golden ancient giant door made Aizen Sosuke temporarily stop his movements, and his eyes subconsciously looked at the boundary gate. Otsutsuki Kaguya was nailed to the space wall. Even if Aizen Sosuke stopped attacking, she would not be able to escape from the current situation. He could only stare silently at the golden and simple giant door, seeming to be curious about what was going on behind the door. The strong spatial fluctuations on the door made her understand that this was also a time and space ability. There should be someone standing on the other side of the door. However, at this point in time, who could it be in the turbulence of space? Boom. Under the gaze of everyone in the turbulent space, the golden and simple giant door was slowly pushed open from the inside. Tread. One foot stepped out from the boundary-piercing gate. Soon, a tall and fierce-looking man with a spiky head and a scar on his face walked out. It's Zaraki Kenpachi. But the situation was different from what Senju Tobarama imagined. Zaraki Kenpachi, who came out of the world-traversing gate, did not immediately shout about fighting or anything. Instead, after pushing the door open, he stood quietly on the left side of the boundary gate, with his head lowered, as if he was greeting Wen. Zaraki Kenpachi, what are you doing? Senju Tobarama's eyes flashed with doubt. Soon, people dressed in death costumes appeared from the gate one after another. And many of them are familiar faces that Senju Hashirama and Senju Tobarama have seen before. Sui Feng, Hiraku Shunsui, Rukia Kuchiki, and so on. These people are all Captain Shinigami of the country of Whirlpool. And their movements were uniform. Just like Zaraki Kenpachi, after stepping out of the boundary gate, they stood on both sides of the boundary gate very naturally, with their heads lowered. Senju Tobarama's eyes flickered and he murmured to himself, the Kingdom of Whirlpool actually came to the battlefield. Could it be said that they have changed their minds? So they specially sent people to destroy Aizen Sosuke. But it seems that it is already a little too late. Senju Tobarama looked at the captains with complicated eyes. If the Uzumaki country had agreed to cooperate from the beginning, Aizen Sosuke might have been able to be solved, and it wouldn't have developed to the extent it has now. Not only did Aizen Sosuke evolve to a seemingly invincible state, but even Otsutsuki Kaguya was completely unblocked due to Black Zetsu's conspiracy. Neither of the two characters can be solved by them. Even with the power of the Whirlpool Kingdom, it is impossible. But, Senju Tobarama squinted his eyes and looked at the captains coming out of the Ghost Gate. Looking at the appearance of the Kingdom of Whirlpool, it seems that this time they came out in full force. Almost all the captains in the information should have arrived. And what they are greeting respectfully should be the captain who has not yet appeared. It's a pity that even with the whole country's efforts, it's just to die. Sage of Six Paths calmly looked at the people coming out of the gate. There seemed to be no emotion on the surface, but there were endless waves inside. There is not even a drop of chakra in these people's bodies. On the contrary, like that Aizen Sosuke, he has the same power in his body. But compared to today's Aizen Sosuke, he is much weaker. But this is enough to prove that these people are all outsiders. Unknowingly, there are already so many people from outside the world in the ninja world. There were waves in his heart, but he also learned from the hearts of Senju Hashirama and Senju Tobarama. These people called Shinigami seem to have an antagonistic relationship with Aizen Sosuke. Because Aizen Sosuke betrayed them. Sage of Six Paths, brows knitted together subconsciously. Subconsciously, I didn't believe this statement. If you are really in a hostile relationship with Aizen Sosuke, you will never be able to sit back and watch Aizen Sosuke evolve to this extent. He also didn't believe that this group of people didn't pay attention to the fighting here. Now that the battle has come to an end, this group of talents must have other purposes for appearing. Of course, there is another possibility. That is, among these Shinigami, there is someone stronger than Aizen Sosuke and his mother. That's why I was so confident and came to clean up the mess. But this possibility is extremely low. After seeing the powerful strength of Aizen Sosuke, Sage of Six Paths does not believe that there is anyone stronger than Aizen Sosuke in this world. FFLX. What is the purpose of this group of people? Black Zetsu secretly poked his black head out of Otsutsuki Kaguya's sleeves. When he saw the Kingdom of Whirlpool, his eyes suddenly lit up. Aizen Sosuke's relationship with the Uzumaki country, he had also recorded this information in his heart when he was secretly observing it before. So it's clear that Aizen Sosuke betrayed the country of Uzumaki. Nowadays, Shinigami from the land of Whirlpool appear in large numbers, maybe they are here to punish Aizen Sosuke. In this way, Mother might still have a chance. Only. Black Zetsu was not happy for a while, but the excitement in his eyes cooled down. He only thought of the relationship between the country of Whirlpool and Aizen Sosuke, but ignored Aizen Sosuke's strength. Today's Aizen Sosuke is probably no longer a match for even the famous Uzumaki country. 2. Even my mother was defeated at the hands of Aizen Sosuke. What could the country of Uzumaki do? Thinking of this, Black Zetsu was immediately discouraged, his eyes filled with despair. However, the good news is that mother is immortal. The only way is to seal the mother again. He cheered secretly in his heart. It has been like this for thousands of years, what does it matter if it happens again? As long as Aizen Sosuke and the others are beaten to death, it will be time for him to make plans again to unblock his mother. Otsutsuki Kaguya doesn't know what Black Zetsu, a filial son, thinks. She had already taken a dim view of it. Since it can't be defeated, it can only be destroyed. The only thing that worried her was that after she was sealed again, the Otsutsuki clan found her sealing location and devoured her completely. However, there is no good way now, we can only take it one step at a time. She focused on those people near the boundary crossing gate. From their bodies, she felt the same power zone as Aizen Stone. It seems that Aizen Sosuke and them should be from the same ethnic group. And in Black Zetsu's memory, she also found information about them. Has the country founded by the descendants of Hagoromo become the residents of these extraterrestrials? But, why are these people here now? Doubts arose in Otsutsuki Kagaya's heart, but his eyes remained unchanged. When an old man appeared in the gate, Senju Hashirama and Senju Tobarama felt tense, and they once again remembered the pain of their souls being burned. Senju Tobarama murmured, "Sure enough. The person they are greeting is indeed the powerful captain." It can be seen that the country of Uzumaki also understands how powerful Aizen Sosuke is now, and even sent the captain, which is enough to show the respect of the country of Uzumaki for Aizen Sosuke. Pity. I'm afraid he is as strong as Yamamoto Genryu Sai, and he can't do anything against Aizen Sosuke. Sage of Six Paths peered into the thoughts of Senju Hashirama and Senju Tobarama, eyes slightly narrowed, staring at Yamamoto Genryu Sai. Is this old man the most powerful person among them? If you feel it carefully, Sage of Six Paths can indeed feel the majestic power in Yamamoto Genryu Sai's body. The body is like a furnace, exuding a terrifying temperature. Give him the feeling of facing the sun. Even Sage of Six Paths can detect a more terrifying aura hidden within its body. Just by getting close, it will be burned to ashes. Power like the core of the sun. Give him an aura of destruction. Sage of Six Paths was heartbroken and stared closely at this old man named Yamamoto Genryu Sai Shigekuni. The captain of the Kingdom of Whirlpool. This strength is truly unfathomable. Even he felt the threat of being destroyed. These extraterrestrial beings, fruit. But it should not be underestimated. It makes sense to be feared by your mother. But even so, even though the power in Yamamoto Genryu Sai's body gave him a sense of threat, he still could not be Aizen Sosuke's opponent. Because the power Aizen Sosuke showed now even made him feel a deep sense of powerlessness. Others thought the same thing. Even Otsutsuki Kagaya believes that there is no one in this ninja world who can defeat Aizen Sosuke. But at this moment, the actions of the Whirlpool country's forces shocked people. After Yamamoto Genryu Sai appeared, the group of Shinigami did not raise their heads, but still lowered their heads deeply. Even Yamamoto Genryu Sai stopped. Like other captains, he appeared on the side of the boundary gate and slowly lowered his head. Exclamation mark exclamation mark exclamation mark. Seeing this scene, Senju Hashirama and Senju Tobarama's eyes widened instantly. Yamamoto Genryu Sai actually lowered his head too. Senju Tobarama stared closely at the boundary gate and said in a deep voice, "Could it be that someone with a higher position than Yamamoto Genryu Sai, the general captain, is also here? Who could be the person who can hold a higher position than Yamamoto Genryu Sai? Yamamoto Genryu Sai is already the captain. And it's so powerful. Being able to make Yamamoto Genryu Sai lower his head, is it possible that this person is even more powerful than Yamamoto Genryu Sai? No, it can't be." Senju Tobarama's heart suddenly started beating violently, and his mouth even went dry. A terrible guess made him tremble all over. The reason why the country of Uzumaki is indifferent to Aizen Sosuke is. Is there a being more powerful than Aizen Sosuke in the land of Uzumaki? Not only Senju Tobarama was nervous, but even Sage of Six Paths was a little surprised. Isn't that old man with the sun hidden in his body not the most important person? Is there anyone more powerful than him? There are so many people and strong people outside the world. There was finally a change in Otsutsuki Kagaya's eyes. There is indeed another person behind that door, but she couldn't sense that person's energy. Just like a normal human being. But Otsutsuki Kagaya knew very well that a person who could be so respected by these extraterrestrial beings could never be just an ordinary human being. She narrowed her eyes slightly and had a terrifying guess in her mind. There is only one result that can make her unable to perceive the existence of energy. The level of this mysterious existence may have far exceeded hers. Thinking of this, Otsutsuki Kagaya's heart skipped a beat. Does such a character really exist? Tread. Suddenly, crisp footsteps sounded. From the boundary gate, a slender leg slowly stepped out. Chapter 162. Interesting for you. The 7 most famous plus-size models in the world. More. 872. 218. 291. Crisp footsteps sounded from the black space. The whole space suddenly fell into silence, except for the captains of the Kingdom of Whirlpool who lowered their heads. The rest of the people opened their eyes wide and stared at the boundary gate, not wanting to miss any detail. They want to know who is the person who can make the captains of the entire Uzumaki country, and even the commander-in-chief Yamamoto Genryu Sai, lower their heads. Finally, in their sight, the person inside the door slowly revealed his figure. He has a slender body, handsome face, and bright and eye-catching red hair, giving Senju Hashirama and Senju Tobarama a strong sense of déjà vu. Uzumaki clan. Senju Hashirama and Senju Tobarama looked at each other, and they could see the surprise in each other's eyes. Because the identity of the real ruler of the Uzumaki country was not known from Sarutobi Hiruzen and Orochimaru before. So they were very surprised by the red hair coming out of the gate. There is even some suspicion that he just happens to have red hair like the Uzumaki clan. But the strong vitality in his body is obviously in line with the characteristics of the Uzumaki clan. This discovery left them a little confused. But it seems reasonable that there are people from the Uzumaki clan in the country of Uzumaki. After all, the country of Whirlpool has been the territory of the Uzumaki clan since ancient times. However, if he is really from the Uzumaki clan, how did he get together with this group of outsiders called Shinigami? Sage of Six Paths narrowed his eyes slightly. Unlike Senju Hashirama and the others, he can be very sure that this person is a human from the ninja world. But they have the same doubts as Senju Hashirama. How do people from the ninja world get together with these people from outside the world? T.O.B. It seems that his status is not low. At this moment, the Shinigami captains of the Whirlpool country suddenly said in unison, "Your Highness, the Soul King." The sound spread throughout every corner of the black space. The serious atmosphere makes people feel nervous. Soul King. Hearing this call, everyone present was shocked and stared at Uzumaki Chihiro with wide eyes. Although they don't know what the title Spirit King means, they still know the meaning of king very well. This person who looks a bit like the Uzumaki clan is actually the king of the Uzumaki country. Senju Hashirama stared at that face carefully, his eyes thoughtful, and he always felt that this face gave him a sense of déjà vu. It was as if I had seen it before somewhere. He scratched his head, feeling a little itchy in his heart, and frantically searched for past memories in his mind. Suddenly, he punched his palm and suddenly realized, Uzumaki Chihiro. He remembered. When he was still alive, he and Mito took Tsunade to visit relatives in the country of Whirlpool, and they met this kid. The young master of the Uzumaki country and the future heir of the Uzumaki country, Uzumaki Chihiro. At that time, he still remembered hugging this kid, but how could he suddenly transform into one of these Shinigami's spiritual kings? Hearing his elder brother's exclamation, Senju Tobarama also came to his senses. Suddenly he remembered the identity of the Spirit King in front of him. After all, as an ally of Konoha, it is impossible for the next heir of the Whirlpool Kingdom not to appear in Konoha's intelligence. So he was also very impressed by the name Uzumaki Chihiro. Combined with his name, Senju Tobarama instantly feels familiar when looking at Uzumaki Chihiro's appearance. Although Uzumaki Chihiro is an adult, he can still vaguely see what he looked like as a child. Moreover, this brat went to Tsunade several times when he was a kid, and he was obsessed with Tsunade. Through this incident, he became very sensitive to this name. Unexpectedly, I would meet him in this form now, etc. Senju Tobarama's eyes widened, and he suddenly remembered that Tsunade was also in the Kingdom of Whirlpool. What is this? Two people wearing it in both directions. But now is not the time to care about these things. This boy's current identity makes people have to care. Spiritual King. To be able to put pressure on these Shinigami, Uzumaki is definitely not an easy character. After Uzumaki Chihiro appeared, the boundary gate behind him closed with a bang and gradually disappeared. He looked around, his eyes paused slightly on Otsutsuki Kaguya, then looked at Senju Hashirama, and said flatly, "Long time no see, first Hokage." Senju Hashirama scratched his head and said, "It's really you, Shao Chinfu." Senju Tobarama stepped forward and said, "Uzumaki Chihiro, if you are here to deal with Aizen Sosuke, I advise you to leave as soon as possible." Senju Tobarama's eyes twinkled. Although Uzumaki Chihiro's identity surprised him, but regarding his strength, Tobarama did not think he could compete with Aizen Sosuke. After all, Uzumaki Chihiro appears to be in charge of a group of Shinigami headed by Yamamoto Genryusai. But Uzumaki Chihiro is a native human being in the ninja world after all. Senju Tobarama does not think that Uzumaki Chihiro has power beyond Aizen Sosuke. Uzumaki Chihiro, the Spirit King, cannot even be as powerful as Yamamoto Genryusai. As for why he became their spiritual king, it is unknown. Apart from any special means used by Uzumaki Chihiro, there is only one possibility. That's the puppet. This group of people from outside the world want to control the ninja world and be recognized by the ninja world. They need to support a local person and become a puppet. And the master of a country happens to be their best candidate. But during this process, an unforeseen accident occurred. That's Aizen Sosuke's betrayal. But, no matter what, Aizen Sosuke has evolved to such a level that it is useless to do anything. Even if the Kingdom of Whirlpool wanted to remedy the situation, it would be too late. Senju Tobarama said in a deep voice, "Today's Aizen Sosuke has evolved to the point of unfathomable strength. You came too late." His words revealed his dissatisfaction with the Kingdom of Whirlpool. Senju Tobarama is indeed very dissatisfied. If the country of Uzumaki agreed to their request for help at the beginning and jointly fought against Aizen Sosuke. With the strength of Yamamoto Genryusai, he can definitely destroy Aizen Sosuke before he grows up. Pity. The Kingdom of Whirlpool thinks very highly of itself and is not moved at all. Senju Tobarama felt ridiculous when he thought about the previous statement from the Uzumaki country that Aizen Sosuke and the others would solve this problem. Solve. What's the solution? Now that the situation has developed beyond expectations, you are now in a hurry and rushed over from the Kingdom of Whirlpool. Late. Senju Hashirama didn't think as much as Senju Tobarama, but Senju Tobarama's words did remind him. Senju Hashirama said with a heavy face, "That's right, Chihiro, you should leave with the people from the country of Whirlpool. No one can restrict Aizen Sosuke now." Hearing what Senju Hashirama and Senju Tobarama said, Uzumaki Chihiro looked strange. Not to mention Aizen Sosuke is his guy. In front of Aizen Sosuke, you can't just leave if you want. Seeing that Uzumaki Chihiro was unmoved, Senju Hashirama became anxious. After all, Uzumaki Chihiro is also a distant relative of his. Knowing that the only result of facing Aizen Sosuke is death, Senju Hashirama naturally does not want to see Uzumaki die after paying homage to his wife. Senju Tobarama is not as kind as Senju Hashirama, but what makes him somewhat relieved is that at least Uzumaki Chihiro did not bring Tsunade here. I guess this guy still has some conscience. At this time, Aizen Sosuke, who had been silent until now, suddenly made some movement. Senju Hashirama and Senju Tobarama instantly became alert. I saw Aizen Sosuke facing Uzumaki Chihiro and slowly said, I have met His Highness the Soul King. Unexpectedly, Aizen Sosuke was quite polite. He had already defected to the country of Whirlpool, but he even greeted Uzumaki Chihiro when he saw him. Senju Hashirama and Senju Tobarama cursed in their hearts, unaware of the deeper meaning of this sentence. But Uzumaki Chihiro said bluntly, well done, Aizen. As soon as these words came out, the entire black space instantly fell into silence. Senju Hashirama and Senju Tobarama were stunned for a moment, subconsciously thinking they heard wrong. But Aizen Sosuke's answer made their hearts sink. It is my honor to be able to work for Lord Spirit King. Exclamation mark exclamation mark exclamation mark. Senju Hashirama and Senju Tobarama's eyes widened instantly and they were dumbfounded. What's the situation? Didn't Aizen Sosuke betray the country of Uzumaki? Why do you say you are working for the Spirit King? Could it be that? Is this all just a conspiracy from the Kingdom of Whirlpool? Boom. Senju Hashirama and Senju Tobarama's hearts were beating fast and their mouths became dry. In fact, the information contained in just a few sentences is too explosive. They looked intently at the other people in the Whirlpool Kingdom, and almost everyone looked calm. He didn't seem to be shocked by the information revealed in these few sentences. They are in the know. To be precise, they didn't know anything about it, but Lord Soul King must have his reasons for doing this. They just needed to unconditionally support Lord Soul King's idea. But Senju Hashirama and Senju Tobarama are not clear. They were stunned on the spot, feeling that a giant net was covering the ninja world, and the big hands weaving the giant net were none other than the Kingdom of Whirlpool. Also Uzumaki Chihiro. Could it be that the mysterious king behind Aizen Sosuke is Uzumaki Chihiro? Senju Tobarama stared at Uzumaki Chihiro in disbelief. No wonder the country of Whirlpool was indifferent to their request for help, they were all in the same group. But he couldn't understand at all, why Uzumaki Chihiro and the country of Whirlpool started the ninja war. Senju Hashirama asked for him. Why? Uzumaki Chihiro turned his attention to him. Senju Hashirama looked firm and said, why did you change the ninja world into what it is now? Why start a war? Uzumaki Chihiro looked calm and said calmly, isn't war always there? Senju Hashirama's expression froze. It's exactly what Uzumaki Chihiro said. War exists all day long. Just after being reanimated jutsu summoned, he asked about the thing he wanted to know most. But after he left, the war broke out. The first ninja war, the second ninja war. Even before this war involving the crisis of the ninja world began, the war was still going on. Even so, the person who started the war is also a sinner in the ninja world. Senju Hashirama said stubbornly. Uzumaki Chihiro did not waver at all and said calmly, only the winner has the right to convict. And I am the winner of this war. Senju Hashirama and Senju Tobarama fell into silence. They had no way to refute this statement. Since Aizen Sosuke is from Uzumaki Chihiro, the winner of this war is indeed the country of Uzumaki. After all, Aizen Sosuke is now. No one can stop it anymore. Although Sage of Six Paths was shocked by this result, it was not the same as Senju Hashirama and Senju Tobarama. After all, Aizen Sosuke and these Shinigami are the same race. 410. What surprised him was that this native human being in the ninja world seemed to be really leading these aliens. How is this done? Why would someone as powerful as Aizen Sosuke obey the orders of others? He can't figure it out. Uzumaki Chihiro didn't care what they thought, just glanced at them, and then lost interest in them. Two big men, what's there to see? At most, they can bring their souls into the jingling court because of his diligent work. Just before arriving, Tsunade gave her a lot of benefits and asked him to save Senju Hashirama and Senju Tobarama who had serious soul trauma. Uzumaki Chihiro doesn't do business at a loss. If you want to get treatment, then work for the Kingdom of Whirlpool from now on. After deciding the future of Senju Hashirama and Senju Tobarama in his heart, Uzumaki Chihiro no longer took them into consideration. His eyes began to look towards Otsutsuki Kaguya. That face looked even less stunning than the one seen on the monitor. Uzumaki Chihiro slowly floated towards Otsutsuki Kaguya, raised his slender fingers, pinched Otsutsuki Kaguya's chin, and looked into those calm and white eyes. Uzumaki Chihiro had an indifferent expression and said calmly, Otsutsuki Kaguya, from a planet outside the ninja world, from the Otsutsuki clan. And you, as the chosen guardian, come to the ninja world with your partner to plant the sacred tree. Otsutsuki Kaguya's eyes fluctuated slightly, as if he was recalling some bad memories. Uzumaki Chihiro ignored her feelings and continued, if the sacred tree wants to bloom and bear fruit, it needs high-quality nutrients, and as the guardian, you should be fed as a living sacrifice. Feed 10 tails, but you survived. Quote. Uzumaki Chihiro's eyes flickered and he looked at Otsutsuki Kaguya's eyes. You, taking advantage of your partner's unpreparedness, attacked him and fed him to 10 tails, and you gained the power of the sacred tree and became the legendary ancestor of chakra. Otsutsuki Kaguya stared closely at Uzumaki Chihiro, the calmness in his eyes no longer existed, replaced by panic. Why? You will know. Others also looked at Uzumaki Chihiro and Otsutsuki Kaguya in confusion, as if they did not expect that Otsutsuki Kaguya actually had such secrets in him. Uzumaki Chihiro raised the corner of his mouth slightly and told the truth that Otsutsuki Kaguya feared the most. Your partner is Otsutsuki. Let's give it a try. Do you think he has been swallowed by 10 tails? Otsutsuki Kaguya's eyes suddenly opened wide, and his pupils began to tremble violently. Otsutsuki didn't die, he even managed to live in the ninja world. Uzumaki Chihiro's voice was like a devil's whisper. He leaned into Otsutsuki Kaguya's ear and whispered, "You don't want to be eaten alive by Otsutsuki Kaguya, do you?"